Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome back to MCubed. Today is Monday, of course, Movie News Monday. And we got a couple little things to talk about. Disney Plus seems to be canceling a bunch of things for cost prohibitive things, I guess, kind of things to make sure that they are able to move forward as a company and as best as they can. A couple things that sounded pretty cool that they have canceled, which kind of sucks, but we'll talk about that. And then the Streamy Awards happened yesterday. I'm not the biggest person that keeps up with all that kind of stuff, but for the sake of us streaming and doing all this stuff, we may as well look at it. So we're going to check that out in a little bit. And yeah, Denis Villeneuve has also teased a potential part 3 to Dune, which I believe would cover the Dune Messiah novel. Would be pretty cool. So we got that to cover, and without further ado, let's roll this intro and get moving, huh? Booyah! I'm so excited. I think Matt actually sent the new intros the other day. I need to figure out how to download them and update everything that we got going on, of course. But howdy. How's everyone doing? How'd the weekend go? How did you do anything fun? Did you watch anything fun? Etc. etc. Would that be Children of Dune? I think it's Dune Messiah. It could be Children of Dune. I'm not positive. I have yet to read the novels. I have them upstairs, and I was gonna get started on Dune, the OG novel, right before this movie came out, and they just pushed it back a few months, which I think is probably a good thing in the grand scheme of things. But it'll probably push back my reading of Dune for a little bit. Now, the next thing I know that I need to read before it comes out is Killers of the Flower Moon. I have that upstairs in my library as well, so one step at a time. There are books to read and movies to watch after that. So, it's all going to be a good time. I'm excited for all of it. But let's go ahead and jump in for the day. I've got this little article right here. We've got, I think, three brief articles to go through, and then we'll go through the whole Streamy Awards kind of stuff and just discuss what's going on. I think this is the one that we like. Oh, no, that's the better one. Okay. All right. So Spiderwick Chronicles. It's technically been canceled, but supposedly, at least, they are looking for new homes for it because part of it's been filmed. If I'm correct, we will read real quick and double check on that one real quick. This is a Variety article by Michaela Z. Spiderwick Chronicles series adaptation not moving forward at Disney Plus. I literally just said that. So Variety has confirmed the completed 6-episode series, completed. I was right. Okay. The completed 6-episode series, which hails from Paramount Television Studios and 20th Television, is currently being shopped to other potential buyers. Based on the best-selling children's books of the same name by Tony DiTerlizzi and Holly Black, the Spiderwick Chronicles live-action series follows the Grays family as they move into their ancestral home, the Spiderwick Estate, and discover an alternate world of fairies. The streamer announced the Spiderwick Chronicles series in November 2021 as part of Disney Plus Day. Last year, Variety exclusively reported that Shazam star Jack Dylan Grazer, Joy Bryant, and Michaela Lee were cast in the series, joining Christian Slater, Leon Daniels, and Noah Cottrell. Grazer provides the voice of Bogart Thimbletack, while Bryant and Lee play Helen Grace and Mallory, respectively. Oh, Grazer's just a voice. Interesting. Showrunner Aaron Eli Colite serves as an executive producer alongside Black, DiTerlizzi, Ellen Goldsmith Vane, Jeremy Bell, DJ Goldberg, and Julie Kane, Rich. Kat Doiro directs the first 2 episodes and also executive produces. The books consist of 5 books: The Field Guide, The Seeing Stone, Lucinda's Secret, The Ironwood Tree, and The Wrath of Mulgrath. A spin-off series titled Beyond the Spiderwick Chronicles contains 3 novels, including The Nixie's Song, A Giant Problem, and The Worm King. The 2008 film adaptation of the book starred Freddie Highmore, Sarah Bolger, Mary Louise Parker, Martin Short, Nick Nolte, and Seth Rogen. And I grew up on that movie. I loved that movie. I read the original 5 novels. I'll have to look back at myself. I'm pretty sure my eyes were going, there's 3 more? Because I don't think I've read the 3 ancillary novels or sequel novels or whatever they just called them. I I loved those book series as a kid, and I think I read them. I think I want to say it was like some required reading, or it was an option for like a required reading book in one of those younger grades, third, fourth, fifth grade, whatever it was, way back in the day. Way back in the day, not that long ago, 10, 12, 15 years ago, whatever it may be. Um, I everything I remember about it, about both the books and the movie, I just adore. The movie I really, really have kind of imprinted in my memory. It's one of the first Freddie Highmore kind of things that stuck out to me. I guess obviously he had a great young acting career, and it's only gotten, I guess, less consistent, but not necessarily more prominent in his roles, but more pertinent with each role he does choose. Each one feels like it's truly something the guy cares about, which I respect in an actor, and I love to see. I would love for him to be in this new series, but I do like every single name that they just said. I don't know if y'all are super familiar with Spiderwick Chronicles or not, so let me know down in the comments below, of course. But they are the kind of perfect young adult fantasy novel, I think. They're and maybe not even young adult. They're more even right before young adult. They're not like that teen kind of novel. They fit in that middle school or maybe even elementary school kind of bill, and I think they're beautiful because of that. It's almost like a predecessor to Narnia, or a predecessor to not Lord of the Rings, but like a predecessor to a I mean, like Narnia, or even like Dark Crystal. I guess I would put this in the same kind of age range as Dark Crystal. I think it fits into that young adult stuff, but you're not getting into like Hunger Games kind of stuff where that's like, okay, teenagers, this is meant for. I think Spiderwick Chronicles fits a younger age, and it melds itself up into an older age group without like separating the two. It fits for everybody, kind of like Percy Jackson in that sense. Obviously, this is like fairies and like woodland creatures and stuff like that. So it's more like a bridge to Terabithia without the sad emotions that are edged into that one, of course. There's still some sad stuff going on, I believe, in Spiderwick Chronicles, but nothing to the degree of like Bridge to Terabithia, of course. I really do enjoy the series. I kind of talking about rereading books and stuff. If this gets picked up by somebody, I might not mind rereading it, honestly. That might be a fun little thing to do, especially with the 3 extra novels. Give me a little extra context. I like context. Context is key, you know? But in the spirit of Disney Plus canceling and passing on these kind of things, Paramount Television, of course, made it alongside Disney and 20th Century Television. But Paramount is in just as bad, if not worse, of a spot than Disney. Not necessarily worse, I guess, because it's a scale thing. Disney's a much larger company, and they owe a lot more money to a lot more people, I believe. But Paramount's not necessarily a good place either. I don't know if they're poised to pick up the television series and put it on Paramount Plus or on television alongside Yellowstone or something like that. I feel like it could do well for them, and it could be something that would boost them if marketed right. But if not marketed right, it could be an expensive kind of bust. The thing that I think might help Paramount take it and maybe move forward with it is the fact that they already have spent money on it. They already have made it. So it would really only be paying for marketing at this point, which of course, if they can find like a Warner Brothers or Netflix or any of these other different streaming services that would take it and pay for that marketing, I assume that's what they would like to have happen, like they did with Disney Plus. Or I guess because Disney Plus is 20th Century Television as well, so they had a vested stake into it. But I'll get back to what I was just saying a second ago, but just that thought right there. Do y'all think Disney would try to overprice Spiderwick Chronicles to try to get a little more money out of it just because more money? And obviously they canceled it to have access to more funds continuously, and they could use this as a write-off unless they sell it and shop it to other places, which they're trying to. And would Paramount mind? Because Paramount needs a little extra cash at the same time. So Is the likelihood of this getting picked up maybe a little less because of how expensive it may be? I hope not. I hope not. Fingers crossed, of course not. Um, but but the likelihood of that possibility is probably a little higher than we'd like it to be. I, for one, would love to see Spiderwick Chronicles put onto Paramount Plus. I think that would actually be a really good spot. They really care about the content. The projects. That's what I'm going to say. I don't like saying content for actual film and television projects. Content is for the YouTube atmosphere, not so much there. And there are projects on YouTube as well, but that's a whole different conversation. I really would like to see it get picked up. I would like to see it go to Paramount, most likely. That's just kind of like those initial thoughts are like that. That seems like a good spot for it. They don't necessarily have something fantasy-like going on right now. It would be good. Obviously, Prime has Wheel of Time and Rings of Power. They don't need something in that category right now. Apple TV Plus has kind of everything they're doing set in sci-fi in a way, which I adore, of course. But they have C and things like that kind of, I guess, I haven't seen C. I'm just kind of going with the little bit that I do know, I guess, about it. I don't necessarily think Apple would be gunning for something like this. They don't look like they're wanting to hit that younger kind of audience at the moment. They want people that can pay for their TV. I think honestly, at the end of the day. So Paramount kind of feels like that happy medium where I think Paramount's closest to Apple TV Plus, and everything they put out is quality over quantity. HBO and Max used to be there, and now it's after HBO Max became a thing, it kind of lessened everything that Warner Brothers was putting out on their streaming services. So I hope that they're kind of course correcting that, but time will tell, of course. I think Paramount, with their focus on, of course, Yellowstone and things like that, they have Halo, they have their sci-fi kind of stuff. They don't necessarily have a little fantasy besides Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is, for Paramount purposes, strictly in animation. So it's not going to be a live action stuff. The live action Avatar: The Last Airbender is Netflix. Probably produced to a degree by Paramount and Avatar Studios, but Avatar Studios for Paramount is primarily animation. So I feel like that might be a good place for it. What say y'all? We've talked about this for 12, 13 minutes by now. Yeah? Yay? Nay? Possibly? Y'all let me know down below, and we'll keep covered on this, and we'll keep everybody up to date as things come out, because I kind of want to reread the frickin' Spiderwick Chronicles now. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Absolutely, Disney would do this if they are in. Do it. Absolutely, Disney would do it the state they are in money-wise. Yes. I tried to fix your grammar for myself, and there wasn't much grammar to fix. I screwed myself up more. Oops. But I haven't watched Spiderwick Chronicles yet. The movie is excellent. It's just one movie, but it's such a sweet little movie. I really think fondly back on it. I adore it. I really do. And I was so looking forward to this. It's not Smoke and Bone or Shadows of Bone and Mirrors or whatever the hell it was, but Lucasfilm canceled one thing, and then to see this canceled was really sad as well. All that kind of young adult fantasy stuff that I grew up reading and loving and adoring, and it really fueled my love for, I guess, IPs in a way, but also just elongated narrative. Strong narrative that has a world to go into and back to and explore and expand, things of that sort. This is one of those series that just brought me into that kind of thought process, and I miss it. I love it. I wish they would go forward with it. I really do. And another thing that looked and sounded pretty damn cool, and I believe filmed, is canceled by Disney Plus. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea prequel series Nautilus canceled at Disney Plus. This is an article on Collider by Makuochi Ekabiri. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I hope I got that one right. This is another short article. We'll read it real quick. All right. So, as part of plethora of new adventures planned for its audiences, Disney had previously announced that it would be adapting a live-action prequel series to the famed Jules Verne tale 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. The series, titled Nautilus, was set to follow the infamous Captain Nemo and his rise to power. However, the journey that was set to take us under the sea will no longer be moving forward. Per Deadline, the Wreck of the UK live-action Captain Nemo series comes as part of Disney's streaming content removal plan unveiled in May, for which the company is taking an impairment charge of approximately $1.5 to $1.8 billion. As part of the studio's cost-cutting measures, its streaming platform, including flagship platform Disney Plus and Hulu, underwent a revision of its programming, with content curation being the studio's new focus. Some of the titles to be purged on Disney Plus and Hulu in May included Willow, Big Shot, Turner and Hooch, Just Beyond, Maggie, Pistol, and Little Demon. Had the prequel series made it to the streamer, Nautilus would follow Captain Nemo in his youth, an Indian prince robbed of his birthright and family and a prisoner of the East India Company. This is the same company that so desperately hunts Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean. Written and executive produced by James Dormer, Nautilus would see the enigmatic Nemo aboard the Nautilus, and alongside his crew, battling various threats in magical underwater worlds. Known for his role as Ash Tyler on Star Trek Discovery, Shazad Latif was cast as Nemo, with the prequel series beginning filming in February 2022 in Australia. So, last little paragraph real quick, and we'll start talking. Nautilus is not the only upcoming original series which has been canceled due to these cost-cutting measures. As previously revealed, a live-action series adaptation of Spiderwick Chronicles based on the popular children's fantasy books of the same name has equally been axed. Despite being completed, the series from Paramount Television Studios and 20th Century Television will be shopped around to potential buyers. The same fate awaits Nautilus as a search for a new doc begins. Okay, but yeah, I thought I just clicked back onto this tab. I thought I clicked the X instead of clicking back onto the tab. I almost freaked out for a second. We're good. Thank God they canceled it. Sorry, such a classic. They could only ruin it. I see where you're coming from there. I do. But I love Captain Nemo. I love 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. There is a small chance there. I think we covered the rumor of it a little bit back, where Brad Pitt may play. What's the frickin' main guy's name? Good Lord, I'm blanking on it. But a remake. Alan Quartermain. That's the character I can't think of. In Extraordinary or League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, remake. And I would love that. I really would. And this could work as a prequel series to that, as well as prequel series to like a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. If, and only if, it was well made and it does get picked up and people want to buy it, I'm going to watch it. I will watch it because I really do love just 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Captain Nemo, and the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is one of my guilty pleasure movies. The comics I have yet to read all the way through, but Alan Moore, right? I mean, he's insanely amazing in everything he does. And that's why I think Nautilus would and could have been really cool. Should have been really cool one way or another. But could have and hopefully would have been really cool. I'm hoping it does get picked up just for the sake of, hey, these people filmed 6 episodes of something, if not 8 or 10, and it wasn't that nobody ever said it was bad. They're still shopping it around. So it's not like Batgirl where it's like everybody that's seen this says it's god awful and it's going to save a lot of money and time and goodwill with the public to not release this. Nobody said that about either Spiderwick Chronicles or Nautilus. Both are being shopped around, and that shows that there is faith in the series. Disney Plus just doesn't have the type of money, and Disney in general just doesn't have the type of money at the moment, which is just a weird statement to say, of course. But they just don't have the cash to put these things on the networks and market them properly. And that's where we're getting these cancellations from. That does not mean they're bad. I'm hoping that means they're actually still pretty good, and Disney just didn't want to put the marketing effort forward in something that they don't know is going to be super popular. Fingers crossed. I think they're concentrating too much on reboots when they really should do a real remake. They seem to confuse reboot with remake if you define them properly. What do you mean? I don't. What reboots have they done instead of remakes? I feel like they do remakes all the time. I'm thinking live action remakes, of course. Uh, the only thing they've rebooted that I can think of is like Star Wars: The Clone Wars Season 7. What else have they rebooted? I guess some things have been in like the same universe as predecessors, like predecessor shows or something like that. But I can't even think of anything off the top of my head outside of like Star Wars. I don't know. Was Turner and Hooch in like the old Turner and Hooch world, or uh, I guess what I feel like that might actually be a thing, because that's the only thing that came to mind besides Star Wars. Uh, Little Mermaid, Star Wars, even Star Trek. Star Trek isn't Disney though. That's a whole different thing. And Little Mermaid, that's a remake. That's not a reboot, right? Uh, yeah, Little Mermaid's not in the same universe as the old Little Mermaid, the animated Little Mermaid. That's its own thing. That's a remake, not a reboot, right? Now I'm confused. But Quantum Leap did a soft reboot and did it brilliantly. I've heard that. Yes, that makes sense. That does make sense. Yeah. Okay. Okay. We'll get back to Nautilus real quick. If these strikes go on much longer, we're likely to see a lot more previously announced projects being canceled. I'm guessing. I don't really know. LOL. No, I think that's definitely a big part of what's going on. Not only are the studios having to spend a bunch of money on these things that they don't know if they can market very well, they're having to spend money on these things at a time where they're not wanting to spend any extra money at all because they're having to spend it to fight the strike in a lot of ways. They're having to spend it to prolong the strike to get the kind of deals that they want, which we'll see if that happens or not. I think Sci-Fi Quest, actually, while you're right here, I was not aware. He commented a couple days ago on a video, and I was not aware that the WGA at the moment does not have a CFO, and there was one other role that they needed filled, but they don't have a chief financial officer for their company, and are trying to negotiate bringing a bunch of more profit back in for their members of their union. How are you supposed to negotiate when you don't have a chief financial officer to negotiate with? Obviously, there are financial analysts and advisors and things like that they've hired, and general counsel. Okay, they started without them. The website has the vacancies. That's insane. That is insane. So yeah, I think there's a lot to be said that the strikes won't necessarily. They might continue on a lot longer than we hope they do. They won't necessarily end anytime soon. And with a lack of a CFO and a lack of general counsel alongside a CFO and just financial advisors and advisement, why? I mean, I'm trying to think as a big company, corporate, whatever, yada yada. Why would you even go to the table with someone who doesn't seem to be taking it seriously at all? That's kind of terrifying, honestly. That doesn't seem like the WGA is taking anything seriously if they don't have someone to go to the table or bring to the table. I don't know. That's iffy. I need more details, but that's just kind of my initial thoughts. Would be like that definitely plays to Disney's advantage, Bob Iger's advantage, every other big studio's advantage versus the WGA. I think SAG should hopefully end their strike sooner than later. But if the WGA doesn't have somebody in charge of their money at all at the moment, how are they supposed to fight for more money at all for their constituents? It doesn't make sense, I guess. It's kind of a big nothing burger. Remake is a one-off. Reboot is a series. Not necessarily. Reboot. No. I see where you're coming from, but a remake is literally remaking something and it not being the old stuff. Because I don't think like Ghostbusters 2016 with all the ladies, that was a remake. It didn't involve anything from old Ghostbusters, or maybe it did. Did it? I don't think it did. I might be wrong on that. That's just the first thing that came to mind. But reboots. There are three: reboot, remake, and retcon. They don't seem to redefine. They don't seem to define them. Retcon. That's a whole different thing. Retcon's not like a remake or a reboot is a new series. Retcon's not a new series. Retcon's just a term that you can apply to reboots or remakes, I guess. Remakes are something entirely new based on something that is entirely familiar. Where reboot is bringing something old back, like a Quantum Leap, like a Doctor Who, like Star Wars: The Clone Wars, something like that, and continuing it. Yeah, I think that's pretty succinctly said, right? But they're not necessarily mutually exclusive, but tend to be, if that makes sense, right? And sometimes you can have a full remake that doesn't seem like it's involved with the original IP. And it'd still be a reboot later on. Like they can sprinkle a little something in the end there and then kind of have an Easter egg. And that Easter egg might be like more of a reboot or something like that. And not necessarily reboot. It just makes that remake more of a reboot. And that's kind of where those things join together. They're not mutually exclusive, but they do tend to be. I guess that's probably a decent way of saying that. Is race swapping a retcon? Technically, yes. Race swapping, gender swapping, things of that sort is a retcon to a part of a character, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that character itself is retconned from something. That character very well may be doing something extremely similar to what it has done in an IP before. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be portrayed exactly the same way. And because that person, that individual, is either race or gender swapped, whatever it may be, that might be a retcon based on the original thing, but it could be just handled a little differently. They might do that to be able to handle something a little differently, because different people, different individuals are going to have different perspectives on different things. And that is kind of whenever those things are used the best, I feel like. Whenever a gender or a race swap is kind of utilized at its best is whenever it brings a new perspective to the table from a character that we already know and have near and dear, I guess, to a degree. Remake example is the Kelvin universe. Reboot example is Battlestar Galactica. Yes. Kind of. Kind of actually. I think you actually have that backwards. I haven't seen either. I mean, I have seen the Kelvin stuff. That's literally the only Star Trek that I'm truly familiar with. But because it connects itself to the other stuff, even though it's in a different dimension or different timeline, whatever you want to call it, it is still connected to the old IP. So it is technically a reboot, where the Battlestar Galactica, even though it was done by the same guy, it doesn't involve any of the old characters or anything like that, right? Or it may involve some of the old characters, but none of the old actors. It's a whole new clean slate, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong, of course, but I think you have those backwards, actually. I think the Kelvin universe, by technicality, is a reboot, even though it feels a little remake-y, Battlestar Galactica might feel more like a reboot, but it's more of a remake, I believe. Wasn't Battlestar the remake and Star Trek did the reboot? Yeah, I think so. Like, that is, if I make that is, I don't know. I don't get that one. Like they planned for Astrid in the live action How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah. Who were they casting for that again? I don't remember. But it was going to be someone pretty decent. It doesn't necessarily make sense for Norse mythology per se, but for modern audiences and stuff like that, that different perspective might be nice to have. And I did like the actress, and I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, but I do believe I liked the actress that they were talking about for Astrid. And yeah, I think that is technically a retcon, but it's not like a full retcon. They're not like taking a pivotal aspect of something out of the IP. It's minor retcon per se. There's varying degrees of that. There's a spectrum of retcons or something like that. But yeah, I guess remake, reboots, retcons. There we go. We've got our definitions, I believe. Possibly. Hopefully. I think so. But real quick, we'll rope this back to Nautilus super quickly, and then we'll move forward with the Denis Villeneuve talking about Dune Part 3. Where would y'all like to see Nautilus go if it were shopped around? I believe Warner Brothers owns the rights to League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and things of that sort. I think 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is an older tale, of course, so it is kind of free reign. If someone wants to tackle that property, they can. So, personally, I would say I think Warner Brothers and Max should pick up Nico Parker. That's who it is. It's the girl that played the daughter to Joel in The Last of Us Episode 1. Yes, I think that's a good casting choice. Anyway, back to Nautilus. Warner Brothers, I think, would be the one best poised to take Nautilus over, I guess. Because I do want it to go 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and then possibly the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen past that. But that's not a necessity, of course, because 20,000 Leagues and this would be its own thing entirely. So that's not necessarily the thing that it would be leading to. Of course, whenever we have the chance and we have the opportunity to follow alongside a film series or a television series that leads to something so great, like a Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, or even a Game of Thrones Season 8, even though that didn't end perfectly, it's that thing that we were looking forward to for a long time. I would like to see that happen with something like that. I don't know if it's possible or even plausible, but if that were the case, I feel like Max would be the place for it to go and Warner Brothers scoop it up. Then again, if that wasn't the plan, that might be a fun thing for like an Amazon Prime. It might be a fun thing for a Netflix. It might even be a fun thing. Well, I was about to say Hulu, but they could have put it on Hulu and they just chose not to. So, any thoughts there? Y'all have any preferences of where Nautilus should go? Because I'm kind of in the Warner Brothers camp, honestly. I believe I'm in the Warner Brothers camp on that one. I am thinking, though, we might move on and we might go all the way to Denis Villeneuve teases potential Dune Part 3. There are words on paper. This is a Deadline article by Armando Tinoco. This is a pretty short one, so it won't take very long to read. And just give me more Dune. Give me more Denis Villeneuve. This dude's amazing. Phenomenal freaking director. And the more we see from him, the more I'm happy, honestly. Okay, real quick. Before we jump into this, we're still talking League. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen bombs so hard, no one wants to touch that property with a 10-foot pole. I know, but it's like such a cheesy pleasure for me. I love it so much. Devastating that Dune 2 is delayed. I don't think so, actually. We'll get to that in a second. But I love the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen so much. Obviously, I was a small child when it came out, so I look at it with that small childlike curiosity and just enjoyment, and that's the thing that I have that's stuck in my brain for all these years about League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Sean freaking Connery, that cast was so good. It was so weird. It was so quirky. I know Dorian Gray and Mina Harkov doesn't have powers, I think, in the comic book series. Dorian Gray's not even in there. Is Captain Nemo? I think Captain Nemo's in there. I'm pretty sure Captain Nemo's in there. There's one of it's Tom Sawyer that's not in the comics at all. I like Tom Sawyer in the movie. I actually like Dorian Gray in there as well. I think both those characters did kind of take away from Alan Quartermain's character and from like Mina's character and a couple other characters. Just looking at it, I guess, purely objectively, trying to be unbiased. But as a kid, I loved it. Getting that movie killed Sean Connery's acting career. No, he just chose to end it after that because he was still offered Lord of the Rings and a couple other things after that, and he could have kept going. Uh, it technically killed Sean Connery's acting career because he let it, but it didn't have to. He did do one thing after that. It was a voiceover work, and it was the one of the worst voiceover, not one of the worst voiceover performances ever. It was just one of the worst animated films ever. I can't even think of what it's called, but it looks awful. It was like an experimental version of animation. I think Corridor Crew's gone over it a few times, and it's just so bad looking. That killed his acting career because Sean Connery could have come back and done anything at any time, whenever he felt like it. But he was old. He didn't have to, of course. I don't blame the guy. I don't blame the guy. But devastating that Dune 2 is delayed. Let's go ahead and jump into the Dune stuff here. I don't think so. I saw an article, I think it was yesterday, talking about how now that Dune 2 is delayed, it doesn't have to fight the Oscars and the Academy for more so against, I guess, Oppenheimer. Sorry, I was reading this comment. Only delayed for 1 month like Godzilla and Kong the New Empire, wasn't it? No. It's delayed till, I believe, either February or March. It was meant to air in November, and it's now going to be February or March. I might have the dates a little wrong, but that general timeline. So yeah, I don't think it's actually devastating. It is devastating in the short term, but in the long term, I think it's a good thing, both for Denis Villeneuve, the entire cast of Dune, and I think it's better for us and the Academy, all these different things. I think it actually is a really good move because this is going to be an insane movie. The first movie was insane. I'm not surprised it didn't get any acting accolades from the Academy, but this one would be one that does. The one that I think, I don't know why. I guess there were a lot of other good films that year, but I really think that Stellan Skarsgård could have gotten a Best Supporting Actor nomination, probably, possibly, from the last one. I'd like to see more things. I think the supporting actor kind of field is going to be heavily flooded with maybe some of these guys and girls from Dune 2. I'm really excited for it, and I think Oppenheimer is probably going to do the same thing. So allowing Oppenheimer to take the 2024 Academy stuff and then Dune to come in around the 2025 stuff, I think that kind of clears the air a bit. And of course, there will be a whole other slate of films next year that Dune will have to compete against. But off the top of your head, what's it going to be competing against? Now this year, that lets Killers of the Flower Moon and Oppenheimer really duke it out with the Academy. So we'll see which one gets the Oscars. Maybe both will. Hopefully both will. But we'll see. I'm so excited for Killers of the Flower Moon. I really am. But real quick, we got a couple things right here. Was moved from November 4th to March 15th. Okay. Well, yeah, that's what I thought. A lot of movies were delayed due to the strikes to allow the cast to be able to promote them. That's the big thing. I think that'll really help both Dune making more money than the first one did. Even though Dune 1 was profitable, I think Dune 2 needs to be much more profitable. And it has the potential to be, of course. Especially with adding people like Florence Pugh, Austin Butler, Christopher Walken, etc., etc. I'm pumped. With the strike, they need content for the next year. True, yeah, and it's kind of pushing them back a little bit. And hell, maybe if they don't get content or projects out and filmed the way they want to, maybe they will end up keeping Spiderwick. Maybe they will keep Nautilus. Who knows? If people don't buy these and shop these early enough, and it kind of just sits in the back burner, it's in the vault. And if they're not interested in scrapping it entirely, time will tell. A lot of movies were delayed or are going to be delayed. Yeah. For sure. I think with the SAG stuff, if SAG is able to get out of the strikes quicker, we'll start getting things happening a lot sooner again. But if like we were talking earlier, Sci-Fi Quest, if the WGA doesn't get their stuff, get their ducks in a row, get their hens in a line, whatever it may be, it ain't looking good. It is not looking good. that could go on for another year. You know how long it takes to hire a new CFO for something that is that pertinent to so many industries? Because the WGA writes commercials and things like that too. Not all the time, not all the time. But there's a lot of industries that this pertains to more so than just film industry, you know? And for the WGA to even, why the hell would you vote to go into a strike without, that's immature and negligent to all of its constituents. It is, I'm sorry to say that. I want to be in the union. I want to be in the WGA one day. Putting that out there before I say this, but it is negligent to your constituents to enter into a strike and not have a frickin' CFO. That is negligent. I don't know a better word for it. It's negligent. WGA can make money in other ways while they strike against the studios. Yeah, they can. But without a CFO, why are you trying to make a bunch of money without somebody to actually guide you where you want to go anyways? No general counsel, how can they legally negotiate? That as well. That maybe that's why they keep having to hire all these different outsourced kind of things. That actually makes perfect sense now. I've always thought like, oh, they're just trying to bridge the peace, keep the peace by having like third parties come in. No, they have to have third parties come in. That's negligent to its constituents. I know I've said the same thing a couple of times now, but it's really just kind of sitting in there and setting in place in my brain. I cannot believe the Writers Guild of America is attempting to do a strike when they don't have anybody to talk for them. That's abhorrent. I mean, that's not right. You can't. That's I probably need to hold my tongue on this. I shall. The problem was the contracts expired. Hire somebody else. Renew a contract. That's a little bit more important. Having that main contract for the entire company, one of your top, CEO, CFO, and COO, and then maybe the president, is one of your top 2, 3, or 4, however you consider those contracts, I guess, leveled and tiered. It's in your top 2 or 3 or 4 most important contracts you need signed. And that contract is supposed to help every other contract have a better fighting chance of getting more money, getting more good things put in your contracts, per se. And you don't have anybody to fight for your people like that. You gotta, before you try to fix your own house, you got to think about how you're going to do that. If you have nobody to think about how they're going to do that besides third parties for you, it's screwed up. The contracts with the studios. Okay. Yeah, but that was always going to happen. Yeah, that was always going to happen. They knew that was going to happen. If like that was set in stone years ago. They needed a CFO to start this. It makes no sense. No sense. That's abhorrent. It's negligent. It's truly negligent. I don't know how they're getting away with that, honestly. That's for someone that wants to join the WGA one day and write and do these things. That would make me think twice about joining. It really would. Get your act together, WGA. Like, SAG is doing everything they can for their constituents. And where the I don't remember, Fran Drescher, like she might have gone to do a little like promotion for something and put a little bad light real quick, but she was fighting the next morning and doing as much as she possibly physically and mentally could to help her constituents in SAG-AFTRA. And clearly the WGA does not care as much. They've been at it 3 months longer than the SAG has too, and SAG's already done a hell of a lot more in terms of negotiating than the WGA has. That's insane. That is legitimately insane. I know we need to get back to Dune real quick, but for the WGA not to have a chief financial officer or general counsel to help legally negotiate for them and to have to hire third-party stuff, I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed. That hurts. That's really disappointing. Like I said, I want to join the WGA. I'm beating a dead horse. I'm saying the same thing a couple times over at this point. But for someone that wants to join the WGA one day because of where it could put my career, that makes me not want to. That makes me really want to like put a second thought process on it. Not necessarily not want to, but like it makes you want to think a little bit more before signing some papers, huh? I would think that for anybody. Or maybe we're so happy and blind to be talking to lower level management and just hopping in and like, oh yeah, I want to join the WGA. Damn, like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. Real quick, sci-fi, what are you saying? They have a 21-year-old TikToker for what? As a financial analyst? Or is that their third party person? Who? Oh God, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the WGA now. That hurts. That's sad. But I don't think SAG will get far with the actor saying they should get paid for every hour they are streamed online. I don't think necessarily either, but I don't know how the studios and the AMPTP say anything against it either, right? What would be the argument against that, I guess? Because you're having your face, your representation, I guess, of yourself put onto screen for that certain allotted time. Obviously, you want to get paid for that time, but at the same time, we've talked about how, well, shouldn't crew members and royalties, yeah, royalties for all actors, but yeah, I that's iffy. I don't know exactly. I might have to think about that one for a little bit. Um, because I don't know. I think that's definitely one of the things that's hurting SAG's ability to finish and close this deal is the royalties aspect of things. But it's such a leveled question. It's such a leveled topic. It's a lifetime paycheck. It really is. But that being said, shouldn't the stunt coordinators, shouldn't the set designers, the production designers, shouldn't the prop makers, all these people get similar royalties? Because guess what? That actor that might have their physical representation on screen for that amount of time wouldn't never look the same way, act the same way, be in that spot if it weren't for these other people that are getting paid once and one time only. So it's iffy. I don't know. It's a very leveled and layered question. Question. It's layered like an onion. To quote good old Shrek there. The studios get paid for every second they are on screen. That's true. That is true. That is very true. It's interesting. This is we obviously will talk about this a lot more as the strikes go on. We've been talking about it for a little bit, and I guess we've been talking about it for a couple months, honestly, now, and not much has changed. Not much has changed. It's kind of like I guess these topics are so with not much changing. I guess with us talking about the same things continuously, and we just kind of get deeper and deeper into these things. We can see why I guess those strikes are having so much freaking trouble actually negotiating and finishing. Is like how do you actually both sides have very pertinent like questions and things that make sense and like they don't work if the other side gets what they want. And if that doesn't work, either you lose, I don't know, you lose something heavy on one side or the other. I read this comment and we're getting back to Dune. We're getting back to Dune. Let's go ahead and hop back on Dune. But Dune writers are clearly not WGA members. Why would you say that? I don't think that's necessarily true. They work a job. I may be a very difficult job, but if they're not front facing, why should they get royalties? Why should only the front facing people get royalties? They technically put in a lot less amount of work, not necessarily, but from like a costume designer or a set decorator or a set designer, production designer person, they're there months before and a month or two after any and every actor's there. The time and effort they put into it, technically, most of the time, sometimes these actors are insanely amazing and they put a lot more effort into it than your average Joe. But why are front facing people the only people worthy of getting royalties when they're not the ones who stay with that production as long as the actual people that are staying with the production from like the get-go all the way to the end? Sometimes they are, but not all the time. Most of the time, not. The actors are on set longer than anyone. No, they're not. They're not. I act. I'm there, and we're not. It's nice when we can be, but we're not. That's utterly false. And I'm not trying to say that in like a rude way or anything, but like we're just not. I feel for the people that are on crew. Actors wouldn't have a job if not for the writers or crew. 1,000%. 1,000%. Actors are on set maybe 2/3. Extras are the actors that are on set more so than any other actor. And extras are on set maybe 2/3 of the amount of time as anybody on crew. Crew gets there 2 hours, 3 hours prior to anybody else. They leave hour, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours, 4 hours later than anybody else. And guess what? They wake up and do it again the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Actors are pampered. Extras even are pampered. They're treated like cattle, but they're pampered cattle. They're the Wagyu cattle, you know? It's just not true. Actors are not on set. If extras are there 2/3 of the time, your main actors, your secondary, your ancillary actors, your third tier actors are on set about 2/3 the amount of time as your extras are. Your secondary actors are probably on set 2/3 the amount of time as your ancillary actors are. And your main core actors are probably on set 2/3 the amount of time, if not a third of the amount of time as your secondary actors. It's just it's a very tiered industry, and it costs money to have those people on set or on screen. And the least amount of time as a heavily paid actor that you have on set costs the studio less. They don't want you there that much time, or maybe they do if they don't have to pay you, but they're having to pay them, so they don't do that. What about actors that make 3 movies a year? How can they be on set more? Exactly. That's literally like those are the definition of not being on set more. It's like, oh my God, they spend all their time on movie sets doing this, and they might spend all their time on movie sets, but how much are they actually spending on each individual set? If you want to add that up to literally anybody on crew, the least paid person on crew spends more time than probably the head actor on any movie on a set, and that's it's just the way of the cookie crumbles. It's the way the game works. Yeah, it's the way this industry is, I guess. But we can cover that a little bit again in a minute. We are almost an hour into this thing. There we go. We're getting there. We're getting there. But while we're almost at this hour mark, let's talk about Dune. Let's talk about Dune Part 3. While we're, pushing our way up to it, we're here. We've made it. We've made it. I wish there was a way. I don't think there's a little X anywhere. Oh, is that a little X? Yes! Okay, that was going to bug me. I was like, I've been trying to get rid of this before the stream, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. I'm so technologically apt, by the way. Just the best with computers you'll ever see. I can't even find an X on the screen. But Armando Tinoco wrote this, and it's just a really brief article, and we'll discuss it right after. So, director Denis Villeneuve is hoping of making Dune a trilogy and is teasing the possibility of Part 3 coming alive. If I succeed in making a trilogy, that would be the dream, Villeneuve told Empire. Dune Messiah was written in reaction to the fact that people perceive Paul Atreides as a hero, which is not what he wanted to do. My adaptation is closer to his idea that it's actually a warning. On the third installment of the Dune film series, Villeneuve said, I will say that there are words on paper. Dune Part 3 would be a sequel to Frank Herbert's Herbert's original novel Dune, which was published in 1965. Dune Part 2 wraps up the story of Herbert's novel, and the potential third film would be based on Dune Messiah, which was published in 1969. Villeneuve said that the third part would wrap up the franchise, as after the first book sequel, the other novels become more esoteric. Herbert would write the other sequels in the Dune universe, like Children of Dune, God Emperor of Dune, Heretics of Dune, and Chapterhouse Dune. The author's son Brian Herbert would continue building the universe after Herbert's death with a series of prequel novels. When or if Dune Part 3 happens is up in the air. It was reported that this week that Dune Part 2 was shifting its premiere from October to March 15th, 2024, due to the ongoing strikes. The Dune franchise stars Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Josh Brolin, Dave Bautista, Charlotte Rampling, Stellan Skarsgård, Javier Bardem, and Stephen McKinley Henderson. Joining the cast for the sequel are Florence Pugh, Léa Seydoux, Christopher Walken, Austin Butler, and Suella Yacoub. Thoughts? I can't wait for Dune. It's going to be so good. I guess we don't really need this bit anymore. So let's just talk. Let's talk about some Dune. OG Battlestar Galactica, everyone's on set 100% because they filmed an episode a week while the show was airing. Yes. That different age and stage, I guess. When 22 episodes were a lot more common, that's 22 weeks out of the year. You know, that's almost half a year already. People would be on set all the time. Back, like, I guess looking back at it from an older perspective is like, you hear stories of like Michael J. Fox doing what's the TV show that he was filming the same time that he was doing Back to the Future, like that back in that time period. Hell yes. But as things have gotten so much more politicized, not just in general, but in like the film world, and every little dollar matters that much more because now I guess it's tracked so much more easily. They are not likely to have that happen anymore. Was Children of Dune an adaptation of Dune Messiah? No. Children of Dune and Dune Messiah are two totally different things. Those are two different books, I believe. God, now you're making me want to check real quick. Okay, I'm gonna run an intro and grab my book. Okay, it wasn't fast enough, but here we are. We've got some books. Booyah. Here's my Killers of the Flower Moon. I saw it and I was like, you know what? I might as well grab it. The Dune collection. I've got the first 4 right here. So, yet to read these. It is an older collection from the yellowing side here. This was my dad's and I believe my grandpa's before his. So, I'm really pumped to actually finally read it. I've been waiting for an excuse to read it for years, and I just never truly just picked it up just for the sake of picking it up, which is usually the best way to do something. But I wanted something a little more pertinent to start it for. And now that these films are here, the pertinence is here as well. So, Dune. Book 1. Dune Part 1, Dune Part 2 covers this novel, which is in this smaller text. Oh my God. 510 pages. With a decent little appendix back here too. But 510 pages. I do love this. It has David Lynch's Dune stuff on the background of it. I love that. I've seen David Lynch's Dune probably 8-10 times. My dad loves that movie. So he always made sure I was going to watch it. Dune Messiah is next, though. This would be what I think Dune Part 3 would be about. And that would be a Denis Villeneuve film. And he's talked about Dune Messiah multiple times before. After Dune Messiah's Children of Dune. So they are different. They are separate. And this one's much longer. It's the longest of the 4, I believe. The first 4 that Frank wrote. I know a lot of like the backstory and back history of this stuff just because it pertains so much to every other sci-fi thing ever written, really. Like this is sci-fi Lord of the Rings, the Dune stuff, essentially. So I should have read it a long time ago. But like I said, I was waiting on something pertinent, and now I have the chance. So if I haven't read it in like 3 months, y'all smack me, be like, hey, what the hell are you doing? I haven't read the books, but I've seen and loved all 3 live action adaptations, the newest being the best by far, but Sci-Fi did a sequel miniseries to their Dune miniseries, Children of Dune. I've heard about that. I've never watched the miniseries, but it's supposed to be freaking great. I really want to. Where would you find it? Because it is Sci-Fi that did it, right? And does Sci-Fi have their own streaming service, or would they be a part of another streaming service? I'm not positive. But Dune Messiah would be part 3. This would be the part 3 that Denis is talking about right here. And that would be nice to see. What? This one is 2. Oh, no. Wait till we get to the appendix. 278 pages. So what was the first one? Was it 510? First one's 510. This is 278. So the third film would probably be the longest, and it would be a good, I guess, stopper, I guess, for Denis. After that, obviously, I like my IPs. I like my series. I like that elongated narrative that we were talking about earlier. I would love to see them do Children of Dune. There we go. Children of Dune. And then God Emperor of Dune. God Emperor. Okay, I picked up the wrong thing. God Emperor is the really, really long one. Children's not as long. Children is only it's like 390 pages. 395. No. I lied. 400. There we go. 408. That's the final page. 408 pages on that one. Not too shabby. I would like to really see these things expanded on if done well. So far, they've been done insanely well, and I understand Denis Villeneuve wouldn't necessarily want to continue on. I'm trying to get this back in the bookcase, and it doesn't want to go all the way down in there. I understand he wouldn't want to continue past that second novel, and which would be the third film, essentially. That doesn't mean it couldn't be picked up by another talented filmmaker. The thought process I would have there is Matt Reeves didn't do the entire trilogy, but he did do part 2 and part 3 of the newest Planet of the Apes trilogy. Maybe if Denis does the first 3, just like they did the 3 Planet of the Apes, the Dawn, Rise, and then War for Planet of the Apes, I believe. Or was it Rise, Dawn? I think it's Dawn, Rise, then War for Planet of the Apes, which I still haven't seen War for the Planet of the Apes. I feel bad about. But the new one with the girl that's playing Ciri in The Witcher, Freya Allen, she's playing in the 4th Planet of the Apes. That seems and looks and sounds really cool. I like the idea for that. It's not J.A. Bayona. Who's directing it? They already announced who's directing that. Who is directing new Planet of the Apes? Wes Ball. That's right. I'm really excited about that. I forgot about that. That makes me so happy. Wes Ball, I've actually had a couple conversations with this guy just online throughout the years. He was going to make a television series, or was it I think it was a movie. No, it was a television series. It was like a bigger television series, I believe. And it was going to be called Mouse Guard. It was based off of these comics called Mouse Guard. And it's very like Nutcracker meets Narnia, but like it's not like ballet or anything like that. I'm just thinking live action mice essentially for that. It was going to be really interesting. Wes Ball, that just makes me happy. That if someone like that comes in there and finishes up the Dune novels and just to finish the next 2 and to properly cover those first 4 novels that Frank Herbert wrote, that would be cool. And of course, if that's done well and everything's making money and it's doing well, at that point you might as freaking well go on with the Brian Herbert stuff. I understand the Brian Herbert stuff is not nearly as beloved as all of Frank's stuff, and that makes perfect sense. But it'd still be kind of cool. It'd still be kind of cool to see. And I think that's probably like Game of Thrones stuff in the sense. I've heard at least that it's kind of like Game of Thrones, where season 7 and season 8 are still like better television than almost all other television. But because of seasons 1 through 6 that were that good, that followed the novels that closely, not that closely, but pretty closely, and had that good of material to go from, that made season 7 and season 8 hurt much worse. I feel like Brian Herbert's novels have been kind of characterized in that same way, where they're better than most people's freaking books. Like, he's got some talent. He definitely inherited some talent from Papa Frank, you know? But he just didn't have Frank Herbert's level of talent. And although he tried really hard to continue up with Dune and all the prequels and sequels, etc., they just were never as successful or even the same quality as the first ones were. Which I think that Game of Thrones comparison would be a decent comparison there. Maybe? Possibly? Y'all let me know. Anyway, Yes. We did just read this one, Mark. Sci-Fi says, Messiah is the story we didn't get on screen because they couldn't stretch it for a movie script. Interesting. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Denis. But just with that thought process real quick. Denis said the same thing about Dune, like the first novel, which is why he split it into two. I'm just speculating. I'm not. Don't put these words in my mouth or anything. Obviously, Dune Messiah would. I believe. I'm putting words in his mouth, of course, but I believe he's saying Dune Part 1 and Part 2 are different movies, and Dune Messiah would be the third. Unless he's secretly talking like Quentin Tarantino around here with Kill Bill, where Kill Bill Volume 1 and Volume 2 were filmed together and were going to be one long film, and the studio was like, no. These are two freaking movies. We're putting two movies out. Mentally, Tarantino says Kill Bill is Kill Bill. Like, there's Volume 1 and Volume 2, but it is Kill Bill the film. Do you think Denis will do the same thing? Because that would technically be 5 films. If Dune Messiah was too large to put into a singular film, if Dune and Dune Messiah, Dune and Dune Messiah were large enough, and those are the second and the third largest out of these 4, could he split both of those into 2 parts? And then Children of Dune, the smallest of the 4, be that kind of trilogy? It'd be more of 5 films, but it would technically be a trilogy. I don't know. I'm just putting that out there in the ether. I don't think that's gonna happen. Kill Bill, LOL, never liked them. What? They're definitely like Tarantino's like most different thing he's done. I do love them for it though. Anyways, I don't know if that's the thought process that Denis Villeneuve is putting into Dune. I don't think it is, but it would be kind of cool. The more Denis in Dune, the more Denis anything, more Denis sci-fi, I'm a happy freaking camper. I like this guy's. Who's the best working director right now? Honestly, for me, the 3 that come to mind first are Denis Villeneuve, Christopher Nolan, and Christopher McQuarrie. They're just and Guy Ritchie probably would be up there as well. But I can't think of anybody else. There's 2 dozen other names I could just start spouting off. But like working directors that are super consistent with absolutely everything they do, and not necessarily like in the old guard or like up and coming. Like these guys are at their peak, moving kind of deal. Yeah, can y'all think of anybody? Because Denis Villeneuve, Christopher Nolan, Christopher McQuarrie, those guys just hit the ball on the head every single time. Guy Ritchie as well. Guy Ritchie's put like 2 movies out a year for the last couple of years, and he hasn't dropped the ball once. Not once. They haven't been like his spectacle films necessarily, but he hasn't dropped the ball once. Not once. And that is rare to do. It is hard to do. And props to him. Props to him. Real quick, would y'all prefer that the Dune trilogy to be 3 movies, as in Dune Part 1, Part 2, and Dune Messiah, or would you rather the trilogy to be 5 movies, Dune Part 1, Part 2, Dune Messiah Part 1, Part 2, and then Children of Dune? What would y'all say? Let me know down in the comments, of course. When's the HBO Dune tie-in series coming to our screens? Actually, let us use the old Google. Dune Sisterhood, or The Sisterhood. The first half of 2024. Okay, it says the first half of 2024. I know that Dune Sisterhood, or Dune The Sisterhood, didn't stop filming either during the strikes and stuff, which I think caused a little stir to a degree. There was something behind the scenes that was causing a stir. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was a little iffy, I believe. But nonetheless, I think it was something to do with the actors weren't happy, or maybe the crew wasn't happy, something like that. But I'm intrigued by it nonetheless. I will be watching it. I guess, honestly, we should probably do some afterthoughts on it as well. Which, are y'all pumped for afterthoughts on Ahsoka tomorrow? I'm really excited about Ahsoka episode 3. It's only gonna be 31 minutes, but that 31 minutes has to be 30 minutes of pure adrenaline. Fingers crossed. Because then, if the adrenaline kicks in, we can get Jamie on it. We can get Matt on it. We can excite the people that don't typically love Star Wars as much to have that interest. More lightsaber fights. That always gets everybody, right? Like, just come on, give us the cool stuff. I'm so excited. I trust Dave Filoni. God Emperor Dave Filoni. God Emperor of Dune? No. God Emperor Dave Filoni. Is that where that nickname came from? Good, we can't see. I delete my history. I'm kidding. No, no, that's funny. Can y'all see? What do y'all see whenever I guess I haven't even really ever paid attention to that. Oh, it's just the article. I never know if you can see my 1,000 freaking tabs. If y'all saw how many tabs I had open, you'd be like, what the hell are you doing? It's nice to have options and different tabs to jump and go to. But you know, all of them. What do you mean by all of them? Like all of the Herbert novels, Brian and Frank? Is that what you'd like to see, or would you like to see Dune Part 1, Part 2, Dune Messiah Part 1, Part 2, and then Children of Dune? Or would you rather see Dune Part 1, Part 2, then Dune Messiah, and then have maybe another creator like Wes Ball's doing for the Planet of the Apes films to jump in and do that? Yes. Was that a yes to what I just said? Yes to you would be pissed off at all the different tabs I have open, or yes to but plugs? I don't know where we're at anymore. We'll move on to some more sci-fi talk. Because while you're saying yes and hopefully clarifying yes to Dune, but which part of Dune? Which part of Dune would you the Dune Part 1, Part 2, and then Dune Messiah, or 3-part trilogy or 5-part trilogy? I guess is the way to say that, which is kind of a weird sentence I never thought I'd actually say. But a 5-part trilogy is possible. It is possible. 5-part. See, that's kind of where I'm at now that the thought process has even gone into my head. Like. And see, I like that you said that, and you're not even like a big fan of Kill Bill, because that's like the only thing I can think of that like works in that way. And even though you didn't like the movie, I like that you can understand, like, okay, like that thought process could be cool to watch play out, which I think would be really fun to watch play out. And it means more Denis Villeneuve, more really cool sci-fi acting, more really cool sci-fi action acting, and Come on. Give us Lord of the Rings for sci-fi. It's what it is. It really is. And it's just so good. It's so good. But what are my thoughts on Rebel Moon? So I'm going to counter that with y'all get in the comments. Get your fingers ready. because I've got a question for you. Are you more excited for, okay, real quick, 5 parts is a pentology, by the way, just in case you didn't know. I was like, it's got to be something. I need to know the terminology, because I know there's a quadrilogy, and then is it a sextology for the 6th one, and then a septology for the 7th? I was like, pentology makes sense, or pentology, or however you say it. That makes sense. Rebel Moon, though. Here's my question. Are y'all ready? Y'all ready for the question? Are you more... It's a two-parter, okay? Are you more excited for Rebel Moon, or are you more excited for Gareth Edwards, the creator? Part 2 of that question. Do you think Gareth Edwards, the creator, looks better than Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon? Or do you think Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon looks better than The Creator by Gareth Edwards? Both are very Star Wars-like kinds of things, in a sense. Gareth Edwards, of course, directed Rogue One before the Andor guys came on and helped out with the finishing of that film, the finishing touches. The Andor guys, why can't I remember their names right now? It's y'all will remind me. I really love Rogue One. Rogue One is some days my favorite Star Wars movie. Most days not, but some days I'm just like, I think the days when I watch Rogue One, I'm like, this is it. This is it. And rightfully so. It's freaking amazing. I really like the way Gareth Edwards, the creator, looks. Rebel Moon, that trailer didn't impress me. I liked a lot of the trailer. I really did. I really did like a lot of the trailer, but it didn't impress me the way I expected it to, the way I wanted it to. It felt like it was all over the place. There was very little story given to us in the trailer. I don't really know what's happening. It's obviously Hannah John Kamen's doing something. Is it Hannah John Kamen? I think it's Hannah John Kamen, right? The lead actress is doing something. We didn't really get to see any of Charlie Hunnam's character, that I think is going to be like the male equivalent to like Leia, essentially, for this. We saw little bits of Jimon Hansu. I'm not sure. Excited for Rebel Moon because new sci-fi always excites me. Yeah. I'm excited for Rebel Moon as well. I'm iffy with it. I'm super iffy after Army of the Dead. I did not like Army of the Dead. I thought that was pure and utter BS, and it wasn't well written. It wasn't well executed. It wasn't well produced. It was not very well shot for someone who likes to focus on cinematography so much like Zack Snyder does. Like, I used to be really, the crazy thing is I was a Zack Snyder like fanboy until Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman, until like the actual Zack Snyder fanboys started happening. I think I was one prior to that. Like in when I was younger, I was like when I was younger, whatever. In my childhood, I watched all the Zack Snyder things I probably shouldn't have, and I was like, this dude's got something going on. He was one of the people that made me love film the way I do. And then Man of Steel, I didn't like Man of Steel. I think I fell asleep in the movie theater, and then I had to go watch it again. And I was like, okay, well, like I like the Russell Crowe stuff. Henry Cavill looks and acts like is the best. I think Henry Cavill is still my favorite Superman, but I hate the movies he's in. Besides maybe the Snyder cut, I think that's pretty good. It's just iffy. I could get into that for a whole nother thing. But Rebel Moon I'm very cautious, very, very cautious heading into it. And I know everything I just said would go against everything like Schmook or even Brad, the other two hosts on the channel, would probably think. But hey, that's what we have opinions for, you know? They're like assholes. We all got them. I do love that saying as well. But I think personally, I'm more excited for Gareth Edwards, the creator. I really like a truly original thing, because obviously Snyder's Rebel Moon was built to be a Star Wars film. And you can kind of see that with the weird creatures they're doing and putting in there. like that griffin looking thing was pretty damn cool, honestly. But also, it's like my first thought was, what Star Wars character, what kind of Star Wars animal is that gonna originally be, you know? And then the blue and the red lightsabers, that pissed me off. Like that was so uninventive, it wasn't even fucking funny. Excuse my French there, but like, come on, dude. Like, do something a little different. Any bit different. All that being said, I'm still pretty damn excited for Rebel Moon. I'm very intrigued. I'm going to go see it in a movie theater if I have the opportunity to. But that trailer, where it just felt like it was all over the place. Rebel Moon was pitched to be Disney Lucasfilm Star Wars. Yes, it was. It was pitched to be the first R-rated, I guess, Disney Star Wars or Star Wars in general. And Disney was like, no, we're not doing that. What? No. And we'll either see why, or we will be like, Disney, what the hell? You should have given us this. And we'll see. I've got some faith based upon just him, Zack Snyder, of course, being an amazing creative. He's got a beautiful mind, and I love the way it works a lot of the times. But in recent years, really the last decade, the only thing that I actually enjoy that he's done has been the Snyder Cut. And that's Man of Steel included. I really like the first half hour of Man of Steel. Just give me Russell Crowe. But after that, it's boring. It's not really Superman. And although Henry Cavill is freaking amazing, it's not Superman. It's a whole different character. I do like the character, but I would like the character more if it wasn't trying to be Superman at the same time, I guess. Anyway, that's a lot. The creator, Gareth Edwards, the creator, looks really cool. That looks like some new sci-fi universe that, like, this guy was like, oh, I got my hand at Star Wars and I did all right. All right, well, what would happen if I did it myself now? What would happen if I brought my thoughts and ideas to the forefront of movie making? And I'm really excited for that. I wish they'd show Rebel Moon in the cinema in the UK. Do they not do that in like London or any other big cities or anything like that? Like, it doesn't happen often in the US either. Sometimes it happens more so than others. Like, I think, what's the second Knives Out film? Glass Onion. It was out in a lot of places for a little bit. But then there are other ones that are out for like I saw Marriage Story in LA because Noah Baumbach was doing certain things. Netflix normally doesn't. They normally don't, but they've started to. Like Glass Onion was a lot, or out in a lot of places, but just like, I think for like a week, maybe 2 weeks. I'd like for them to allow time for an actual cinematic run. Maybe not the longest cinematic run, but at least something. And that's extra dollars in their pocket. And if they're Netflix, they already aren't advertising, I guess, the way most people do, so they might save some advertising money as well. I don't know. The another thing that did the Rebel Moon trailer was all over the place, and by the end of it being segregated into a part 1, part 2, it made me lose even more interest immediately. Like, I don't necessarily like that Mission Impossible, the one out right now, is a part 1 of part 2. I don't think that was a very smart move on their part. Dune being done the way they have done it in that part 1, part 2, I think is perfectly acceptable because it has the notoriety it has. It's such an old IP. It's such an old novel. There have been multiple film and TV adaptations and iterations of these things. I think that is acceptable. Mission Impossible, even though it's had its own old TV series, and I believe it's even is it a book series? Aren't there like little novellas or something like that about it? I'm not positive there. That hurt that film, splitting into 2 parts. Rebel Moon splitting into 2 parts does not excite me for it. It actually takes a lot of excitement away from it. Netflix could make a lot of money with cinematic releases. They could make a lot of money with cinematic releases. With the amount of money that Knives Out made, I'm surprised they didn't put Glass Onion in the theaters for at least 3 or 4 more weeks past that initial 1 or 2. Like, at least have it take up a month and a half kind of run, right? Like, then toss it on Netflix and get your Netflix money there and all your subscribers and all that. But I want to watch it in a movie theater. I really want to watch these movies in a movie theater. Extraction 2 in a movie theater would have been great. I would have adored that in a movie theater. I really adored it at home as well, but Extraction 2, put it into a cinematic release, would have been dope. It would have been great. And I really hope that Rebel Moon is one that they do that for. There are a few others that I think they should do that for, but out of the things that are just in the zeitgeist at the moment, Rebel Moon, please. Please, Netflix, please. What's Mark saying? Some of my favorite movies never showed in theaters in my home city, a capital city, Topeka. I had to drive to another town to see Memento and Donnie Darko. Never showed anywhere close. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Capital cities aren't necessarily the thing that they're looking for. It has to be a big film city. Like LA and New York City, neither are capital cities, but they're huge film cities. Real quick, Gamer Beans, Donnie Darko is an awesome film. I know we've been talking about Frank Herbert, but Frank the Rabbit is one of my favorite Franks ever. But, you know, a little Donnie Darko. For those of us that love our Donnie Darko, young Jake Gyllenhaal, that dude could do anything, man. So good. And he can still do anything. But anyways. It's not necessarily like capital cities or even like the largest city. I think it's really like film-centric cities are the ones that get those smaller kind of releases a lot of time. And obviously those were released to a bigger degree than like a small release. I feel like a capital city should have those released. But it sucks that happened back then, because nowadays that makes sense. There's a lot of theaters that only want to show 18 showings of Black Panther, the 20 showings of the next Avenger, 14 showings of Blue Beetle, or whatever the hell it is, you know? And that's taken up a lot of theater space nowadays. And you have to find a theater that shows kind of independent film, that shows independent releases, things like that, which isn't necessarily easy to do all the time. And that's just kind of what we got to look for, I believe. Hopefully they air Rebel Moon and things like that in your city. Fingers freaking crossed, because more eyeballs on these films, the merrier. Even though I did just kind of talk a little, not shit, but I talked a little, not so much lovingly towards Zack Snyder films as of recent. Whether this one's great or awful, I want it in movie theaters, and I want us to all be able to go see it in a movie theater. And it's not like we deserve that as the audience or anything like that, but as people that love film, as the film industry itself is changing a lot, there are big tentpole films, I guess, for these studios that make sense to go see, like Barbie, like Oppenheimer, things like that. But for the most part, these giant blockbusters, Fast and Furious, even Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man particularly, all these things are not making the type of money that they did make 2 years ago, 3 years ago. We're tired. We don't want to see that kind of BS anymore. We don't not want to see it, but we want to see it done right. We want to see it done well. And if you're going to do that, if you're going to spend that time and effort, put it out in a theater, yes. But take a little more time and effort to make sure it's truly that quality. And while you're taking that time and effort, allow room for these other films to go out into the zeitgeist. Like, how are you going to find the next directors for the next superhero budget films or the next big blockbuster, whatever it may be? If Louis Leterrier, the guy that did Fast and Furious, if he wasn't allowed to go do, did he do Transporter or Crank? One of the old Statham things, you know, like that's just one example. There's a dozen others. I really try to go see as many independent films as I can, and I will never stop. As long as I am monetarily able to go see some films, I will go see them. Obviously, there are ways to make it a little cheaper, like go get that Regal Crown Club thing, and I think I paid $23 a month, and every movie's 50 cents. After that, life's good. Life's good for that bit. But etc. We can keep moving. Donnie Darko, awesome film. Favorite movie of all time, and had to wait till it came out on DVD to even see it. It's so good. It's so good. The concepts of that, like it being such an like not undertoned sci-fi. It's definitely sci-fi through and through, but like it's just as much like a high school drama in a certain way. It's just so meticulous in every little step it takes. And I adore it. I will always adore it. I'm right with you. It's not my favorite movie of all time, but it's probably my top 20 or 25. It's one that I go back to very fondly every single time I go back to it. And even just thinking about it, like you saw me saying the words Frank the Rabbit, just put a big smile on my face. And I love the movie. I really do. I love the Snyder Cut too. The Snyder Cut was really good. I think that is the best thing that Snyder's done since probably when was 300 made? Was that 2008, 2009? Watchmen was 2009, right? No, Watchmen's 2006 and maybe 300's after that. One or the other. I think it's the best thing he's done since Watchmen and or 300, whichever one was the most recent of the two. Marvel has the same formula they have in every movie. Yeah, and it's not doing super well. The sequels, I never saw the sequel to Donnie Darko. It didn't look great. 2006 was 300. Okay, so 2009 is Watchmen or 2008 is Watchmen? 2008 is Sucker Punch. It was 2009 Watchmen? I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I wasn't a big fan of Sucker Punch either. That's why I'm saying it was either 300 or Watchmen. I was the age of the character when it came out, so it holds a super special place in my heart. That makes sense. And, I mean, it's Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's Donnie Darko. That is just everything about it was great. 2009 sounds about right. Yeah, okay, so this Snyder Cut was probably the best thing that I've seen him do personally since Watchmen. Oh, my first DVD was American History X. It was cheaper than VHS. I bought a DVD player. I like that. I think, obviously, I grew up in the DVD era, but the first DVDs I know that we owned, we have that. Okay, I think we have Star Wars on all VHS, and then I think we have all the Lord of the Rings on DVD. I think OG Star Wars definitely on VHS. I think prequel trilogy probably DVD, and Lord of the Rings on DVD as well. And those, obviously I didn't buy them. I just grew up with my parents having them. But those were like the first DVDs that probably I jumped into and delved into. Army of the Gamer Beans, my friend. Love you, buddy, but you're gonna have to explain that one. Just because he put robot zombies, some alien stuff, like just because he put cool little things in there does not mean it was brilliant. And good. I'm glad you did. Film is subjective. Television is subjective. It is all subjective, of course. People enjoy different things. Obviously, what I'm talking about here is usually what I enjoy or not, but oh god, that one hurt me. I expected it to be really good, and I love me some zombie stuff. And the Living Dead franchise was brilliant. Yes, that one, yes. Army of the Dead hurt me, though. I think there's a reason Army of Thieves, I didn't even try to watch that one. I liked all the actors and actresses in it, the characters in the film, but like, how? Brains, yes. But like how? Like, I mean, like I said, it's subjective. I'm glad you like it. But those characters were the most one-note characters. There wasn't any actual depth to them. It was like faux depth, fake depth. Like he wanted us to believe there was depth to these characters, and then they didn't do anything with that depth in the actual narrative of the film whatsoever. It was like, we're going to have backstory, so you get a prequel series, so you get this other movie, so you get this, so you get that, so you get this. And it didn't pertain to anything in the film itself, and that pisses me off beyond belief. It was Zack Snyder saying, pay me more money to go do more projects. It's like, I don't like, if you really wanted to do these projects, you would make this project well made. You would do it correct the first time instead of setting up half a dozen other things that people don't actually get necessarily the first time watching this film. I don't know. It hurt. It hurt me. It did. But OG Evil Dead 1 and 2, then Army of Darkness was brilliant. Yes. I really do like the 2013 Evil Dead remake, and I still need to watch the new one. I don't know if that fits in a remake or reboot category. I'll have to watch it to give it that kind of thought process, but something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Army of Darkness was great. Army of the Dead hurt me a little bit. Army of the Dead hurt me. It did zombies better than Walking Dead show the past 7 years. Yeah, I would agree with that. I stopped watching Walking Dead season 8, and I was kind of over it by 5 or 6, honestly. No. When Negan came back, I was back in it. This is my boomstick. But yeah, no, I agree with you there. Well, kind of, sort of. I didn't necessarily love the way they did zombies, but I didn't hate it. I thought it was interesting. I really did like the concept of having a smart zombie lead stuff. It felt there were bits of Army of the Dead that I really would have enjoyed if he would have been pertinent in actually making them more so part of the narrative than they were, instead of just making them like, hey, well, let me do this. Like, literally, the cool concept with the smart zombie was essentially like, let me do a prequel show or movie that describes how we should do it. It just was like, come on, just write something good. That's all I'm asking for, you know? Season 11, first 8 episodes were good, then middle 8 average, as were the last 8 episodes. There were 24 episodes in season 11. There were 24 episodes. That's insane. I think I missed. Did I miss a chat earlier? Oh, yes, that's right. What is your favorite movie of all time? Then ask again in 5 years. Will the answer be different? I don't think so. It's a bit cheesy. It's not really that cheesy, but I find it cheesy saying it because people were like, really, that's it? And I'm like, yeah, that's it. My favorite movie of all time, it's probably been that way since I can remember, has been Army of Thieves was written and directed by the same guy that played the German guy. No way. That intrigues me a little bit more, but I don't know. Resident Evil, Mila Jovovich, Michelle Rodriguez. You can't ever go wrong. I love them both. Even though they're not always in the best films, I still do love them both as actresses. They're just great. What is your favorite movie of all time? Then asking in 5 years. Well, the answer would be different. My favorite movie hasn't changed since 2002, Mark says. Honestly, mine probably hasn't either. Braveheart is my favorite film. I just love it for everything it is. It is beautiful. It's melancholy. It's inspiring. It's uplifting. It is sad as all get out. There's treachery. There's love. There's deceit. There's loyalty. There's anything and everything that you want in any movie in it. And I love it so much. I Braveheart is amazing. Have you ever rated a movie as 10 out of 10? Totally. Yeah. I'm probably a little bit easier of a rater than a lot of people that would be reviewing and rating things. As long as I enjoy something. Is a 10 out of 10 movie even possible? Yeah. I would put Braveheart, and maybe not as a 10 out of 10, maybe like a 9.5 out of 10, but all 3 Lord of the Rings films, 10 out of 10s. God, now you've put me on the spot. I feel like I have other 10 out of 10s on my IMDb ratings. Can I even look that up? Can you look up on like your IMDb account your ratings and like what other things? Oh, I think you can. I think I have. I think you had to go. Okay, Lord of the Rings. There we go. Fellowship of the Ring. 10 out of 10. Other titles I've rated 10 out of 10. Okay. I haven't rated many things 10 out of 10. Some of them are a lot more recent than I thought they'd be. Do y'all want to guess any? Mark, you'd be happy with one of them. Donnie Darko is one of them. all three Lord of the Rings are 10 out of 10s for me. I gave all Lord of the Rings films 8 or 9 out of 10. That's understandable. That's understandable. I love them. The other things I've given 10 out of, I gave Everything Everywhere All at Once a 10 out of 10. I don't know if it still is for me, but I saw that movie 6 times. I would probably keep that one at 10 out of 10, honestly. I find a 10 out of 10 impossible. Alien is one of my favorites, but that's an 8.9 for me. Okay, that makes sense. There are certain things where I do rate things 10 out of 10, but it's literally I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 10 things rated 10 out of 10. 3 of them are Lord of the Rings. Braveheart's not even on here, so I don't know if I've rated Braveheart in my past. Immortal is 1. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is 1. I think Into the Spider-Verse I rated 9 out of 10. A couple of these things I have rated 10 out of 10 are video games, though. Skyrim, I gave a 10 out of 10. I did give Jedi Survivor this year a 10 out of 10. I don't know if I would keep it there. I think that's going to be a 9 out of 10 for me at the end of the day. But that shows you how much I was enjoying it for that whenever it came out. But the Mass Effect games, I have 1 and 3 as 10 out of 10s. And really, I don't know why I have 1 and 3. I think 2 and 3 would be 10 out of 10s for me, and 1 would be 9. Thinking about it again, I might have to just go through some ratings and play with that. The Jedi games just get better. They really do. They really do. Fallen Order, I really wasn't that big of a fan of. Like, I liked the story. The narrative was by far my favorite part. It was too Soulsy for me. I don't like Souls video games that much. Just they're I don't understand. I don't not understand. I get people wanting to be playing like the most difficult thing possible to like really give themselves a big challenge. But hell, if that narrative is there, I'm much more entertained by the narrative than, okay, I have to do this one thing 50 times before I actually get past it. Screw that. I'm putting on easy and just playing, you know? Like, I'd rather just get the freaking story out. And Jedi understood that, or Jedi Survivor understood that, and I think that helped a lot. Helped a lot. I drove to another city 4 times in 2001 to see Memento in theaters. A definite 10 out of 10 for sure. So is Kill Bill, Donnie Darko, of course. Amelie. See, okay, I don't know about Kill Bill. I love Kill Bill. But if I was going to rate any Tarantino a 10 out of 10, it's not my favorite Tarantino, but I think it'd be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Just because it's like you can feel. He couldn't have made that movie 20 years ago. He couldn't have made that movie 30 years ago. That movie had to have been made at the time it was made, or present day to the future, anytime in that kind of time period. Because it's that meticulous. It's so well done. But honestly, it would probably be Inglourious Bastards or Once Upon a Time. If I had to give something a 10 out of 10 from Tarantino. Donnie Darko, yes. Amelie, yeah. And honest, I was thinking about Dune whenever I was laying out the 10 out of 10s there. It's amazing. It really is. I don't know if it's a 10 out of 10. It might be a 9.5 out of 10, but like at that point, it's kind of just semantics, right? Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is the best Star Wars game ever made, in my opinion, though. Oh, I mean, yes, I agree. I've got a special place in my heart for Jedi Academy and Jedi Academy 2, though. I love those games so much. Oh, I didn't even see this one. Gamer Beans! I still haven't gotten around to watching Everything Everywhere All at Once. I saw it 6 times in the movie theaters, and I've probably seen it 4 or 5 times since then. I made my whole family watch it for Thanksgiving. It's great. It's so sweet. It's so funny. It's so weird. I love it. I just love it. It fits the bill for anything and everything that it could be. All at once, just to fit that bill there, you know. What is your lowest rated movie? Sci-Fi Quest asks. I don't know. I really don't. There are some movies that I'm just like, because that's the thing. If I really dislike a film, I probably don't remember it all that well. You know, I probably was choosing to tune it out as I was watching it, possibly. I I don't know. And even for bad movies, I tend to try to take y'all know me at this point. I'm kind of like an eternal optimist. I just like to look at the good side and things as much as I can. So even like really, really bad movies, I try to find like something good from them to take away. But I don't know what my lowest rated movie would be. Like Morbius comes to mind, but at the same time, like I wouldn't rate it that low. Like it's not a good movie, but it also had elements of goodness in it, and I don't think Jared Leto did all that bad. I just think it was kind of cut to hell, kind of like Rise of Skywalker was, and things like that. Oh really? Uh, I don't know what Iris is, but Nightmare Before Christmas. I hated both movies and walked out of the cinema within 20 minutes. Wow. Have you ever taken the time to watch Nightmare Before Christmas again, like all the way through? It is, like I said, all things subjective. But I can kind of see that. It's just one of those things that like you either really like that or you don't. Right? Um, yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. First 20 minutes though. That's funny. That's funny. All right, so we're an hour 45 into this puppy. Let's look at the Webbies, not the Webbies. What were they called again? Streamies, the Streamy Awards. Mr. Beast, of course, is one Creator of the Year. This is an article on the Hollywood Reporter by Hillary Lewis. Other well-known winners at the Matt Pat hosted ceremony included Jonas Brothers, Meghan Trainor, Logan Paul, Jay Shetty, and Dylan Mulvaney. So let me get this back on the right one. I believe that's right. Oh, that's a little much. Oh, there we are. Oh God. Okay, the latest Scream was good. I still have only seen, I think, the first two Screams, so I didn't see this one. And I'm weird about that. If I haven't seen 3, 4, and 5, I won't go see 6. Or I haven't seen 3 and 4, I won't go see 5, so on and so forth, kind of deal. That might be one of the worst ones ever. It was there. Wait, what? Sci-Fi Quest, real quick, before we jump into the streamies. I had a weird dream last night. I was on a live stream with the YouTube algorithm and couldn't say anything whilst the algorithm played nothing compares to you. Copyright strike flashed 3 times, then black. What? Why does that make me think of this might be my worst rated movie ever, the one that just came to mind. Space Jam, whatever the hell the second one's called. New Legacy. There's not New Legacy, whatever the hell it was. The new Space Jam was god freaking awful. But that kind of that weird dream kind of made me think of it. Were you stuck inside of the YouTube algorithm instead of like algae rhythm? Like, oof. Don Cheadle as algae rhythm was like just the name was the only good part about that entire film. Really, I wanted to walk out of Endgame, and my kids wanted to stay. The first 2 hours really dragged. Third hour kicked it into action. Hyperdrive. First 2 hours should have been reduced by at least 30 minutes. Well, yeah, I really do enjoy Endgame, but I agree that it could have been cut down a lot. Endgame was a lot of fun to go see in the movie theater, but Infinity War is infinitely the better film out of the two, I believe. Where the second one was Endgame was really like time travel, timey-wimey, make it make sense, get a bunch of like drama out of the way because there is melodrama that has to happen within universe. And then an hour of cool action. And it was like, all right, cool. I like it. I really do like it. This is fun. But Infinity War was infinitely a better film. Infinitely a better film. This, though, like the YouTube algorithm, like algae rhythm, what's going on, Sci-Fi Quest? May I suggest a joint and a nap? Maybe not a nap, actually. Maybe a joint and a hike. A nap might put you back into some weird dreams. Take a nap after the hike. I don't know, but don't take a hike. You know what I mean. Go for a hike. Don't take a hike. That sounds worse. You know what I mean. It had so many plot holes in Endgame. There were a lot of plot holes in Endgame. Yeah, my dad, who does not like movies that much, walked out of Star Wars in '77. Do you know why? What was the reasoning behind that? I would have thunk that would have been like just the most mind-blowing and like awe kind of inducing kind of thing possible back then. Has That's great. That's great. Could have just been the KFC I had. That's possible. You might want to go on the hike just after the KFC too. But I don't know. Word for word, as I know language. Luckily, thanks to my mom, I grew up knowing the original trilogy. Word for word, like I know language. Good. Mama made sure you were you raised properly on movies, which is great. Not movies aren't for everybody. There are people that don't like movies. My brain doesn't work like that. Sometimes I wish it did, but it does not. So his dad must have thought Star Wars was the devil's work. That's possible. That's possible. The devil's doing it. It's definitely possible. That was the case. That's funny though. That's wild. Anyway, let's jump into this. Dreamy Awards. Mr. Beast wins Creator of the Year. I don't know if y'all are interested in reading all that article. I'm not. The Hollywood Reporter, if y'all want to read that article. At this point, though, I'm just kind of interested in who won what, even what the awards are. I've never looked through this before, so this is the first time for me as well. My very first VHS was Transformers, the movie. They were still doing VHS in 2007? Oh, was it like an 80s Transformers, like Transformers animated stuff? I just showed my age, or lack thereof, I guess. There, I don't know. Were they doing VHS in 2007? I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll just go through these really quickly and just, if y'all have a comment about them, let's comment. So I guess what we've done in the past was like, do I agree with who won, and who would have I liked to have seen win? And we'll do that. 1986 Transformers, the movie. Okay, that makes sense. Which is excellent. I was so happy during, I guess, the pandemic sucked. All that sucked. But while it was going on, YouTube had a couple different things. They had like G.I. Joe on and Transformers on, and you could just kind of click them on, and there would just be reruns going all the time, like an old cable network would have. And it was just live 24/7, and it would go on for months and months and months. And it was amazing. There was literally, when I would leave the house, my grandma taught it to me when she was alive back in the day, when I lived back in Texas. She was the type of lady that if she left the house, someone was still there because the radio was on, kind of deal. So I always leave the TV on or like the radio playing whenever I leave my house. And the entire pandemic, I swear it was like strictly G.I. Joe reruns, Transformer reruns, or that's right. It was old Justin Wilson Southern Cooking, and I love me a little Justin Wilson Southern Cajun cooking. And I talk about a good old Louisiana boy, Justin Wilson. If y'all aren't familiar, great dude. Modern version of him is Stale Cracker, and that dude's hilarious as well. Don't get me started on food. We could do a whole nother food thing. They should make a Flat Earther movie. It would be interesting and funny, but I think it would have to be a comedy, right? It would have to be. Star Wars Episode 1 home video release was VHS only for years. Yeah. I think we have Phantom Menace on VHS, but we might have it on DVD as well. I think we have it on DVD. I'm not entirely positive. I think we might have had it in both ways. I know Lord of the Rings we all had on DVD, though. Maybe we had it on VHS as well. Maybe my parents had both versions. I'm not positive. There's an animation streaming site, free to watch, thousands of animated series, new and old. Ooh, what is it? What's it called? Crunchyroll is really good for anime, but I don't know about animation, you know? My first DVD was Blade. Props to you, good sir. That's such a great first DVD. I love Blade. Blade 1 and 2. Blade Trinity is all right. It's not as bad as I think. Well, it's pretty damn bad, but it's not like... No, it's pretty damn bad. But It's fun. It's fun for some popcorn flick kind of stuff, you know. But it ain't Blade 1 and Blade 2. Blade 1 and Blade 2 just mwah, perfect. Perfect. Okay, real quick. We're going to jump in here. We're going to scroll through these. I will be on the other screen, so I won't see comments for a little bit, but keep commenting. We'll scroll through them and talk about everything after. Let's jump. Overall awards, Creator of the Year. It could have been Iraq, Alex Earl, Charlie D'Amelio, Jay Shetty, Jedion, Logan Paul, Michaela Noguera, Mr. Beast, Ryan Trahan, or Zach King. Yeah, Mr. Beast. Shoulda and did win. Show of the Year. The winner is Michelle Carre with Challenge Accepted. There's also Brandon Rogers with Bryce, AMP. Good Mythical Morning. Chicken Shop Date, Amelia de Moldenberg. Hot Ones, First We Feast. I Spent a Day with Anthony Padilla. RDC World, Sam and Colby. Okay, I get it. WoW Presents. Yeah, I don't know what the hell Challenge Accepted is. Maybe it deserved to win, but off the top of my head, it should have been Chicken Shop Day, Good Mythical Morning, or Hot Ones. And realistically, it should have been Hot Ones or Good Mythical Morning. And out of those two, I don't know if I could choose, honestly. But I'm not familiar with Challenge Accepted. Do y'all watch that? I'm not sure. After that, Streamer of the Year, though, went to Kai Sinat, Emiru, Hassan Abi, Iron Mouse, ISO Speed, Ludwig, Quack City, Tariq, and Valkyrie, and XQC. You know what? I think we have been through these before. We did talk about these, right? But we were just talking about like the nominations. Yeah, just because I remember some of these just sounded kind of funny, and I was like, I'd go for that. Yeah, I have no opinion with any of these guys. Quackity, Quackity. That sounds funny. Ludwig, I feel like I know who Ludwig is. I just can't put the face to the name. I know who Hassan Abi is, and I like him generally, but I don't really have an opinion in Streamer of the Year there, honestly. International, though, there's Inaldino from Brazil, Gales from Brazil, Ibai, Spain, who won, Kabi Lame from Italy, and Mike Crack from Spain. Well, Ibai won, but I like the name Mike Crack, so I would have been going for Mike Crack. But I don't have an opinion on here either. Short form, though, Chris Olsen won. There was also the Cheeky Boyos, Connor Price, Elise Myers, and Rich Black Guy. Chris Olsen, I don't know any of these people. Cheeky Boyos sounds fun and funny, but it also sounds like it's probably dumb at times. Rich Black Guy sounds funny. I would have voted for Rich Black Guy. I'm just saying. Short form, I no opinion, though, again. Individual awards, Alex Earl, Drew Afualo, Dylan Mulvaney won, and Jake Sheen, Octopus Lover 8, and Keith Lee were the nominees. Breakout creator, I don't know any of these people besides Dylan Mulvaney, and I probably would have given it to Dylan Mulvaney. Whether you like or dislike Dylan Mulvaney, that I guess doesn't really matter for this. It's more so like who had the biggest break into the zeitgeist in their breakout creating time. And I don't know if anybody ever has caused a company to lose billions of dollars within a year of doing anything. So, yeah, deservedly, breakout creator goes to Dylan Mulvaney there. Whether you like them or not, breakout creator fits. It fits the bill. Breakout streamer, though, Phantom won. Agent 00, Extra Emily, Fillion, and Shy Lily were also nominees. I don't know any of them. I don't. I'm sorry. So, no opinion. No opinion. We're going to keep moving. Collaboration, though. Mr. Beast, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, surprised if he didn't pick The Rock every time, won. Cooking with Linja, Nick DiGiovanni, Japan Vlogs. I like them. They're too over the top. I'm like, all right, lean into some stuff, but like, fucking A, just be a human being sometimes. Like, it doesn't need to be an act 100% of the time. It annoys the hell out of me. So sorry, Nick DiGiovanni, but Cleo Abram, Marquis Brownlee, Quantum Computers Explained. Marquis Brownlee's awesome. Albert Cancook, Chef Rush, Protein Burrito with the Big Man, Chef Rush. Yeah, I like Marquis Brownlee, and that's probably really informative, but this is probably a hell of a lot more fun, so I'm not surprised. But for informative reasons, I probably would have picked this one. Creator for Social Good, Beast Philanthropy, Dr. Lupo, St. Jude's, Invisible People, 1, Jacksepticeye, World Central Kitchen, Mr. Ballin Foundation. I'm not familiar with Invisible People. Jacksepticeye sounds like the funniest one. I probably would have voted for that, or Beast Philanthropy, just because of the type of outreach he's able to do and the type of audience he's able to bring in. The dude he brings in money no matter where he goes, and I think that's obviously good for social good and philanthropy. But it's nice to see someone else get in that category as well, you know? Creator product, though, oh God. Prime, Logan Paul and KSI won. Crunch Labs, Mark Rober, should have won. Feastables, Mr. Beast, should have won over Prime. I don't know what Bias Base from Shay Mitchell or Pop Flex from Blow Gelatis is. But like, come on, Crunch Labs, that shit's insane. And Feastables, the same thing that Prime did, just less bad for you, which is crazy because isn't Feastables like chocolate and stuff? Like Prime's legitimately awful for you. You should never drink Prime. Logan Paul, KSI, I have opinions about y'all, none that are bad though. I mean, they're just kind of like, y'all are generally entertaining. They're not necessarily good opinions either, but they're just kind of there. Like, cool, y'all are there and y'all bring energy and stuff to a lot of things. Fun. But make an actual product that's not going to hurt people's bodies. Like, come on, energy drink that's killing you on the process of drink. No. Huh. Screw energy drinks in general. Sorry, I know people love energy drinks, but the only energy drink you need is water. Anyway, I can't stand Logan Paul. Please fall on face, Paul. Yeah. Not my favorite human being in the world, but hey, makes a lot of people entertained, a lot of people happy. Energy drinks. What's wrong with a good old coffee? Or just water. Water or coffee, like shit, you know? It doesn't need to get that complicated. If anything, go to CVS and grab some caffeine pills. Like shit, cheaper than buying a bunch of energy drinks every day. You paid $15 once and you got like 200 days. You got like almost a year's worth of caffeine. And it's so much more effective than that. And anyway, we can keep going about that. Excuse me. Crossover. Jonas Brothers won. Haley Road Bieber, Kate Hudson, Lily Reinhart, Camila Mendes, and Madeline Petch. Blonde Brunette Redhead, and then Paris Hilton. What were they crossing over with? What? I don't get it. The Blonde Brunette Redhead thing, that kind of makes sense because that's like a crossover of different people doing different things. But like, was the Jonas Brothers a crossover because they're not all like together all the time now and just joining back together was a crossover? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know what that category even means. No opinion. First person, Eric, Ben of the Week, Danny Duncan, Ryan Tran, or Safia Nygaard. Is this first person like shooters or something? Like video game wise? Ryan Trahan won. Cool. I like it, I guess. I don't know. Possibly. No opinion again. Just chatting. That might be our thing one day. Or we could be variety. We might be in one of these varieties one day. Hassan Abi, Kai Sinat, Quaxity. Quaxity won. Good. I like the fun name. Your Rage. I think you have to say it like that. Your Rage or something like that. I don't know. That's just kind of funny. XQC. Interesting. Quaxity won. I'm glad. Cool name. I like that. Variety streamer Emiru. I Show Speed won. Lyrique, Ludwig, or Valkyrie. I think Ludwig I would have voted for. Or Valkyrie. I like those names the most. But I Show Speed sounds cool. So good on you. Good on you. VTuber, though. Filian Gaurgura won. Gaurgura. Iron Mouse. Jaden Animations or Shitu? Is that it? Shucks 2 or Shitu? One of the two. VTuber. I'm not into VTubing at all. I don't think any of them should have won. Sorry. I don't like VTubing stuff. Didn't Coca-Cola Yayo flavor? Like, didn't they have one? It used to just be made with cocaine. What's wrong with classic Coca-Cola with crack? Not crack. It was cocaine. It was not crack. It was cocaine, my friend. And my family had it. I think my is it great? No, it's my grandfather and my great uncles, I think, and my great aunts. They, as a family, bought a Coca-Cola bottling company and plant, or yeah, one of those things. We had it in our family for 85 years. Sold it like 10, 15, 20 years ago. Uh, I wish we were part of that part of the family that had all that. Because they made some extra cash. But because we had Coca-Cola bottling stuff for so long, our family has a bunch of like Coca-Cola memorabilia. And when my grandparents passed away, we got a lot of their Coke memorabilia. And we have like a bunch of old Coca-Colas that have cocaine in it still, like OG kind of stuff. And I would never drink them. They're definitely flat after being in a bottle for 120 years, 150 years for some of these things. But it's cool nonetheless. So I like to have that kind of stuff. Anyway, back to this. I'll get back to the comments in a little bit. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Just I had to double check. We're gonna speed through these because, like I said, I don't have an opinion on a good chunk of them, so we're gonna speed through. Rolling Stone Sound of the Year, though. Okay, I might have an opinion on this. Area Codes by Kali, Boys a Liar Part 2, Pink Pantheress, and Ice Spice. Ice Spice is still doing stuff. Goated by Armani White. Here with me, D4VD, David, I guess. In Ha Mood, Ice Spice. Twice on there, Ice Spice. Wow. Made You Look, Megan Trainor. Oh, God, that one. Players, Coil Ray, Pretty Girls Walk, Big Boss Vet, Unholy, Sam Smith, Kim Petras. What It Is, Dochi. I don't know if I'm familiar with any of these. Pretty Girls Walk sounds familiar, and I feel like that's just a catchy song. It sounds catchy. I don't know. No opinion though. I thought I might. Sorry, I had to get the phlegm out for a second there. Podcast though. Call Her Daddy, H3 podcast, Impulsive, On Purpose with Jay Shetty, one, and then The Yard. Those were the podcasts. That's a joke. That's a joke. How the I'm gonna start just cussing too much if we keep talking about stuff. How is Impulsive on there and not like Flagrant? Flagrant 2 should win that category entirely. Like, what the hell are they even talking? I don't know. Anyway, keep going. Scripted series: Bryce by Brennan Rogers 1, Dar Man, The Game Theorist, Ginormo, Stephen He, and RDC World. I don't know what it is. Just from the names, I would have gone Game Theorist, but I don't know. No opinion. Unscripted series: Challenge Accepted by Michelle Carre, Chicken Shop Date, Amelia de Moldenberg, Hot Ones, First We Feast, I Spent a Day with Anthony Padilla, and Sam and Colby 1. Chicken Shop Date or Hot Ones are the ones I would have voted for, and Hot Ones is the one that would have won. I don't. Sam and Colby has to be pretty damn good because Hot Ones deserves that 1,000%. Subject awards though: Haminations, Hell of a Boss. Oh, okay, so this is animated. Hell of a Boss, Viv Pop 1. But Haminations, Jaden Animation, The Land of Bogs, and Meat Canyon were all nominated. We definitely talked about this stuff because Meat Canyon makes me want to just vomit. I hate that. I mean, I don't hate it. It's not like I right up next to hate it. It's just unnecessary. I understand it's space in the world and the zeitgeist and everything, but like, I hate that people's brains work that way. It's disgusting. You could, with the amount of effort that it takes to make that, like, make something decent, like, that you would be proud to show your children. I don't know. Anyway, Beauty, Brad Mondo, Colleen Makeup, Miss Darcy, and Nikki Tutorials, and Michaela Noguero 1. I'm probably a little prettier than I've ever been my whole life because I've been a country bumpkin for most of my life and been a little heavy. And, my goatee might keep a little bit of that bumpkin with me every now and then. But, hell, I ain't into all that beauty. I don't know. This is interesting, though. DeMarcus Shawn, Chris Collins, Lucas Lopez, and McFarland's for comedy, and RDC World 1 for comedy. Define comedy. Because I don't recognize any of these guys. And I feel like I at least I keep up with, like, the stand-up world Is this like comedy shorts, comedy projects, like videos on YouTube? I don't know. And why would that fit here instead of scripted, or would it be improvised? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm no opinion because I'm confused. Commentary though. Penguins 1. Curtis Connor, Danny Gonzalez, D'Angelo Wallace, and Chad Chad are all there. I feel like I recognize D'Angelo Wallace. I feel like I don't know. No opinion though. Competitive gamer, Tins 1, Scump Tariq, It's Timmy, and Typical Gamer were also there. I feel like I recognize Tariq, but I'm just not familiar with competitive gaming all that much. I just feel like I've heard the name said maybe before. But Scump, I love that name. I would have voted Scump or Tariq or even Typical Gamer just because I like their names. But Dance, Enola Bedard, 1. Cale Brown, Matt Stefanina, Merrick Hanna, and Yule Wonder were all nominated. Enola Bedard won, but I would have voted Yule Wonder just because I like the way it's spelled and pronounced and all that. That's kind of cool. No opinion, really. Fashion and style, no opinion. Wisdom K won, and I would have voted her just because that sounds like a cool name. But Kins Loren, Max Alexander, Mina Lee, and Gunnar Deathridge. Gunnar Deathridge? Okay. It's either Gunnar Deathridge or Wisdom K I would have voted. Those are no opinion, but I really like both those names. Like Wisdom K sounds like your wise old wizard, and Gunnar Deathridge sounds like you're not so wise old wizard. I don't know. Like that's just I like both those a lot. Food wise, Nick DiGiovanni won. Why? Who? Why? Cooking with Linjo. I don't know why that's even on here. Nigel deserves to be there. Chef Reactions and Alexis Nicole. They're all right. Guga Food should have won. Guga frickin' Food should have been the only one nominated and the only one even applicable for winning. And the only other person that could have done it would have been the Guga Food's other channel, Sous Vide Everything. Like, that's a joke. I do have opinions here, and I don't like any of them for this right now. So we're going to keep moving. Gamer, there's Afmal, Kalis, Markiplier, and Tommy in it that were nominated. Dream won. I feel like I've heard of Dream, but I just like Markiplier as a person, you know? So I would have voted for that guy. No true opinion for that, though. Health and Wellness, Austin Alexander, Dr. Mike, Healthy Gamer GG, and Lean Beef Patty were all nominated. Dr. Julie won, though. I've seen something from Dr. Julie. I like her for the most part. Health and Wellness, though, I'm in the carnivore and animal-based diet aspect of health and wellness. Obviously, the last couple months, I've lacked a little bit on these things. But typically, that's how I lost like 100 pounds. When I lost 100 pounds the first time around, carnivore and animal-based diet is literally how the human body was developed to survive. And I would have voted Dr. Sean Baker or Dr. Ken Berry or Dr. Paul Saladino. I like that somebody with doctor did win, though. That usually helps with health and wellness. You usually want someone that has spent the time to get a doctorate in health and wellness. If not, someone that's, just well-versed in a lot of things health and wellness-wise. Anyway, Kids and Family, no opinion for this. Britty Kitty, I've heard of. Gracie's Corner, Rebecca Zamolo, Recess Therapy, all nominated. Miss Rachel is one, though. I feel like I've heard of Miss Rachel. I've heard of Recess Therapy, and I've heard of Britty Kitty. No opinion on any of them, really. Learning and Education. Oh, that makes me so happy. This one makes me so... Oh, yes. Okay, Big Weird World, I like. Colin and Samir, I like. Tom Scott, I really like. And if I wasn't going to be happy Tierzu won, Tom Scott, I would have been very pleased with as well. Veritasium, I like as well. Tierzu is great, though. If y'all aren't familiar with Tierzu, they gamify learning in a certain way, and it's usually about nature and different types of animals, and they say it in a way that like video games would make sense. And I love it. It's so creative. It's so well done. I wish Tierzu could put out more stuff like they used to. But with the amount of effort it takes to make a single video, I understand why they don't as often. But Tierzu is freaking amazing. That one actually makes me very happy. That makes me very happy. Attaway, Tierzu. Congratulations. Congratulations, man. Lifestyle, AMP won. Bretman Rock, Charlie D'Amelio, Kara and Nate, and Sophia Richie Grange were all nominated. I know none of these besides Charlie D'Amelio, and that's just because she's one of the D'Amelios, I guess. No opinion though. News, Hassan Abi won. Interesting. Gay News, Josh Helfgott, Brian Tyler Cohen, The Philip DeFranco Show, and Task and Purpose were all nominated as well. The Hassan Abi winning news in that category is actually kind of cool. We're going to hope that we're in that kind of category one day, because technically that is what we're doing right now, is film news and things of the sort. Currently streaming news, but they coincide a bit nowadays. Anyways, science and engineering, I Did a Thing won. Come on. Alan Pan and Tech Joyce were nominated as well. But the two that were nominated that should have been winning were either Mark Rober or Hacksmith Industries. Probably Hacksmith Industries. But Mark Rober would have been a very close number 2. And if it was vice versa, it should have been Hacksmith and Mark. It should have been the other way around, Mark Rober, Hacksmith. I Did a Thing. They're cool. But it's not Hacksmith Industries, and it's not Mark Rober. That one's upsetting. Is it kind of funny that the only ones learning and education and science and engineering are the only ones I really have opinions for? Oops. Not oops. That's actually probably a good thing. But anyway, sports, Destroying, Duke Dennis, Good Golf, and Olivia Dunn were nominated, and Jesser won. No opinion. Technology, iJustine, Linus Tech Tips, and Mr. Who's the Boss, and Supercar Blondie were all nominated. And the person that should have probably won is Marquis Brownlee. Marquis Brownlee's just great. Linus Tech Tips is also great. And I do have a soft spot for iJustine. Not only is she beautiful, but I grew up watching her videos. Like, she was part of the zeitgeist of YouTube as YouTube kind of started, and has stayed in the space, I guess, ever since. So it's fun. I like iJustine a lot, but I think Marquis Brownlee probably deserved the win. So Craft Awards. Cinematography, okay. Reciter won. I like that. Cool. Ashley Zhu, Cole Walliser, Lyrical Lemonade, and Will Freeark were all nominated as well. Cole Walliser would have been a good runner-up, I guess, in my opinion. Lyrical Lemonade as well, but Reciter, I like that. I like that. See, I do have opinions in more than just the sciencey learning aspects of things. Cinematography, I like my movie stuff. Editing, though. Yes Theory for editing. Okay, that makes sense. Yes Theory won. Cooking with Linja, Jet Lag the Game, Kelly Wakasa, and Savannah Moss were also nominated. Yes Theory is leaps and bounds above them all. Yes, I agree. Visual and I almost said spatial effects. Visual and special effects. My brain's on sci-fi, y'all. It always is. Buttered Side Down, Corridor Crew, Justin Yee, and So Crispy Media were nominated, and Zach King won. Zach King beat out Corridor Crew. I mean, whatever. I mean, Zach King's super freaking talented, but like, whatever. You know. I don't know any of these names actually. Writing wise, Caleb City, Dami Lee, maybe Josh Zilberberg, and Petey were all nominated. Excuse me, if I can get the word out. Leo Gonzalez won though. Cool. I like that. All right. Brand Awards, Agency of the Year. Reach Agency won over Bin Labs, Content Plus, K-Vale, and Waylar. I'm familiar with these two, Waylar and Reach Agency, and then Bin Labs. I don't really have an opinion though. Attaway, I don't know what the qualifications were to even get in the category or the qualifications to win were, but cool. Brand Engagement, Dumb Ways to Die, Playside Studios, Feastables, Mr. Beast, Subs for Subs, Jersey Mike's, Sweet Tarts Film Fest on TikTok were all nominated, but No Drone, No Problem, Insta360 won. Interesting. I feel like I recognize this. I don't know if I've seen something like that, but Feastables would have been the thing I would have chosen just because Mr. Beast is good about brand engagement like that. But hell, I like to see other people than Mr. Beast win, obviously. So that's cool. Even though the dude does deserve most things. Brand of the Year. Okay, it makes sense. It makes sense. That's kind of cool. Kind of funny. Chipotle Mexican Grill, Insta360, and Old Spice and Prime Video were all nominated, but Barbie and Mattel won. We all know why. She's making more money. She's about to beat Mario. Barbie's about to beat Mario. For the biggest movie of 2023, Barbie is about to beat Mario. Anyway, that's insane to me. I think it's less than 2 million away. It's freaking insane. So yeah, that one makes sense. Branded series though, A Style Is Born, Wayfair and Made in Network, Plot Pitch Prime Video, Real People, Real Stories, AARP, Who Wore It Best, Netflix and Harry Jowsey were all nominated, but Live at 425, Totino's Pizza Rolls, and the Cheeky Boyos Flight House Content Plus won. That's funny. Cheeky Boyos and Totino's Pizza Rolls. Even though I don't know who the Cheeky Boyos are, Totino's Pizza Rolls makes sense with somebody named the Cheeky Boyos. I get it. I guess. No opinion though. Branded video. Asmcar and Nissan and Donut won. ASM Car. Okay, I got you. ASM Car, Nissan and Donut won. Give Odor the Bird, Old Spice and Cypher PX and United Esports, My Poor Friend, Photoshop Express and BV Key. Wait for it, hashtag Corn, Chipotle Mexican Grill, and When You Meet Her Dad and Old Spice Saves the Day. Old Spice and Adam W. were nominated, but ASM Car won. ASM Car sounds, that's catchy. They deserve it, I guess. No opinion really, though. Influencer campaign. Ooh, we're in our last two. Influencer campaign. The nominees were Heinz Masters, Heinz and Waylar, Chainsaw Man Viewing Party, Chainsaw Man and Crunchyroll, DiGiorno Made Us Do It, DiGiorno and Reach Agency, Nebula, Standard. They were all nominated. Blasting to the Top, Joe Blaster and Ben Labs won. And okay, I can see that. But Nebula, I like Nebula. I respect Nebula a lot. That would have been cool to see that one win. Social Impact Campaign, though. The winner was Play by the Rules, International Committee of the Red Cross, and Pop Shorts. The nominees were Barbie You Can Be Anything series, Barbie and Mirrored Media, Loot for Good, Call of Duty Endowment and Activision, Real Recipes for Real Change, Chipotle Mexican Grill, and the Farm Link Project, and Nick DiGiovanni, and then the Retalk Shop, Nature Valley, and Content. Yeah, okay. Play by the Rules, International Committee of the Red Cross. Cool. I don't really have an opinion on that. Social impact, though. Red Cross making social impact tends to be a good thing, you know? But yeah, that's it. Harris, one day you will be nominated. Maybe. Harris will be nominated for THC Awards. Please. And can we make that a thing? Is that a thing already? Like, it'd be really cool. As a vegan, I'm insulted you eat meat. What? Are you actually a vegan? Anyway. Science, where's Star Talk with Neil? For real, though. For real. Where's Forrest Valkai, Aaron Ra, where's like Anton Petrov? I mean, Angry Astronaut would even be up there for me. I don't know if he'd win or even get nominated in one of these categories, but everybody you just named, Vsauce even, you know, like, I don't get it. I really don't. Give me a big fat T-bone and potatoes any day. Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad you got that. I was like, vegan, really? You don't talk like a vegan. Most people don't talk like vegans because we're real people. I'm kidding, huh? Not really. Hacksmith isn't really entertaining for me, but I love to watch the Aliens Power Loader videos and lightsaber vids. They're not necessarily the most entertaining, but for engineering and science, they're like by far the most pertinent, even, honestly. Mark Rover would probably win entertainment aspect value for that. But Hacksmith is just, they're doing the coolest things anyone's doing, maybe across the globe. Like, just consistently and genuinely. Like, they're great. But I keep seeing that. Give me a big fat T-bone and potatoes. I try to avoid more potatoes nowadays, even though I love me some potatoes. I'm scrolling up here, trying to catch up. My first DVD was Blade. Okay, that's the last thing I remember. My 10th DVD was Titan AE. Oh, that's funny. You remember 2 through 9? Blade, the bloodbath scene was with the Crystal Method song was awesome. Yeah. The music in that scene was incredible. Really is. I'm sure the song was by Crystal Method. Dark Angel in 2000, Jessica Alba. So hot. Jessica Alba was always beautiful. And Dark Angel was pretty fun. First VHS original Star Wars trilogy. Hell yeah. First cassette tape, Labyrinth soundtrack. Hell yeah. First CD, Beetlejuice soundtrack. Ooh, hell yeah. First DVD, Frequency. First, ooh, that's a good one too. First Blu-ray, Doctor Who, Planet of the Dead, and Watchmen Extended Cut. Mark, my man, that's just a great list of everything right there. Hubba hubba for some of this Jessica Alba. I was trying to make Alba and Hubba Hubba make sense and sound like they're similar. I wasn't gonna be able to do it. I'm not Eminem. I can't do that kind of stuff. Door Hinge and Orange don't work for me. Because I could, but they take a lot. It take a lot to get to that. Wow, Star Wars trilogy on VHS. Respect, they were expensive back in the day. Yeah. Supposed to be doing Beetlejuice 2 with Jenna Ortega. Yes. And Winona Ryder. And Michael Keaton. I don't know if Gina Davis and Alex Baldwin are back, but it would be cool if they were. Not sure I'd have faith in Jenna Ortega and Beetlejuice in the moment, to be fair. Really? Why? I can't It's Sam Logan. Please follow. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Just because I know we already covered all that, I'm just going back. Crack is easier to type quickly than Coke, but it is also crack is just more fun to say. I always get the worst looks when I say it, but when my friends or anybody that I've just met is like, all right, so what's the plan? What should we go do? I'm usually, my first answer is always like crack or like heroin. And they're just like, what the hell? And then, it's just, it's what comes out of my mouth. It's like a joke. And I don't even think about it, but it throws people off sometimes. And I just get a good chuckle out of it. Typically I have to explain like, no, I'm just joking. But if people got a good sense of humor, they get it, True, Gamer Beans. Yes. Megan won because she made you look. You've been waiting for that one for like 10 minutes, haven't you? You've been waiting for that one for a little while. Oh my God. That's funny. That was funny. Cheesy as hell, but very funny. AFK should be on that list. Just saying. Who's AFK and which one of those lists? I don't know. We went through so many. It's just hard to keep up. Turn that beauty filter off. I need to put one on. I don't need to get a beauty filter or nothing like that. Papa just needs to go tan. I need to go sit on a freaking beach for a little bit, I walked around on a beach last weekend with I walked on the beach last weekend. But I didn't sit out in sun. I need some sun, honestly. I do. And back to potatoes. I love potatoes. Jenna Ortega was brilliant. Yes, Jenna is amazing, cute, and all that. Jenna Ortega was brilliant on Wednesday. She really was. And honestly, if y'all have not seen the movie X, y'all totally should. She's excellent in X. And it's also got a really good supporting cast. Kid Cudi's in the movie, and it has some pretty funny little bits. But also, he's a decent actor in the movie. And the whole movie is fairly simple. It's a horror movie, and it's really simple, but it's well done. I enjoy it. Pearl was the prequel to that, and Triple X, or it's not Triple X. I always want to say Triple X, and I'm like, wait, no, that's Vin Diesel. Maybe it's just XXX. I don't remember. But the third one's coming out, and it's the first trilogy A24 has ever done. It was the second sequel A24 had ever done. But it's fun. I like it. And Jenna Ortega is excellent in X. AFK makes good Star Wars vids and others. Is AFK like the title of the channel? There's Eckhart's Ladder. I mean, I could name half a dozen Star Wars people. I'm just okay. AFK is the name of the channel. Okay. Funny. I don't remember what I was saying, but something. You. You did get me. You got me good with where the hell was it? She made you look. That was good. I know you waited like 10 minutes for that, and it was probably well worth the wait. Damn, I done got. That was funny. We are at 2.5 hours, literally in 10 seconds, y'all. Star Wars Meg is a good channel. I just don't think she would have been nominated. I think Theory or Eckhart's Ladder would be like the two Star Wars people. Maybe even Screen Crush would have been nominated for something along those lines if the Star Wars creator were to be nominated. Yeah, that is it for me though. I know we went a lot longer than we probably expected to going over those Streamy Awards, but it's good to talk about the zeitgeist that we're in, right? Right? I think so. 2110. Time flies. It really does. It does. But yeah, we covered Spiderwick Chronicles today. We covered Nautilus and how they're both canceled on Disney Plus, and we'll probably cover some stuff like that more in the future. I'd love to actually get kind of Jamie and Matt's opinions, even Stormy's if he has the time, just on stuff like that. You know, I'm intrigued to see what Disney's going to have actually air and actually not air in the next year. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting because it's not just Disney. It's a lot of these other companies as well. But Disney's the one who is like doubling down on what they're doing at the moment. Buy a long stream tonight. David! Howdy. I don't know if were you here the whole time? I don't know. But hell yeah, one way or another. You'd think they needed I can't speak. You'd think they need new content with all the strikes at the moment. Yes and no. Yes and no. No, because they can still outsource it to more than just U.S. stuff, right? But yes, in the sense of like, hey, we have some things that we want done, you know? And it'd be nice to see these things get done. We'll see. Oh, you know what? Something that I did not write down that I meant to write down was I was going to talk about how 80% of Disney's animation houses have voted to unionize. So there's now going to be an animation union, or are they joining IATSE? I forget. I need to read the couple articles. But that might be a good thing to talk about on Wednesday. So we'll do that. I think this week we're going to get started on we're going to be really pertinent. We're going to try to do like an hour to an hour and a half here, and then do another hour, probably hour and a half on Sidetrack as well. We're going to have to be a little bit more pertinent about like time-wise, so I can't get so ADD and go all over the place like I tend to do. So we'll be a little more organized as always. Not that I'm not organized, but, you know, I like to trail off when I can. And why not? Whenever, you know, we can just edit this stuff later for succinction stuff. But it's fun to trail, to talk, to hang out, all these things. I'm still waiting for Snowpiercer Season 4 to be picked up. Snowpiercer, the film. Maxine, there we go. Thank you. I know the Triple X was in there. I was just like, it's in there. I just can't think of what it was. That's it. Thank you, John. Very much appreciated. Appreciative for that. I love Snowpiercer the movie, and I've never seen the TV series. Should I? I couldn't tell if I love Jennifer Connelly, and I like Sean Bean that was in there, of course, but should I watch it? Snow. Gamer Beans! What? Squirrel. Yeah, I squirrel a lot. But, like, what? The movie's amazing. Bong Joon-ho is just hits it out of the park. The show's better? Okay, all right. Well, you've got me. Now I gotta watch it. I don't know when I shall, but I shall. A bunch of my friends are watching The Sopranos, and it's making me want to watch The Sopranos. Should I watch The Sopranos or Snowpiercer first? I need opinions, and then I will leave this stream. We're gonna end it on that. Sopranos or Snowpiercer first? Sopranos is a few seasons, and Snowpiercer's, you said 3 so far? Interesting. Okay, all right. The show is much better. That's so wild to me. I liked the first season, but couldn't get into it after that. Interesting. No way. What do y'all not like about Snowpiercer the movie? Oh, okay. Tell me what you don't like about Snowpiercer the movie. Still haven't seen Sopranos. I haven't either. I've seen bits and pieces, of course, but I've never delved and actually watched the full thing. And I've got like 4 friends watching it right now. And every time they do anything, they're just talking like a soprano. And I'm just like, all right, fine. Like, I'll watch this shit. Let me get to it, you know? So I need to watch that. But should I watch Snowpiercer or Sopranos first? And why do y'all think Snowpiercer the movie isn't as good as the show? And also, what do you not like about the movie? I love the movie. It's one of my all-time favorites. It really is. It's wild. It was slow. The acting was terrible. How? What? Gamer, my friend, what? Chris Evans, John Hurt. Oh, John Hurt's so good in the movie. Jamie Bell is one of Jamie Bell's best films. And Ed Harris, man. What? Okay. Interesting. All right. It was slow, but it's like purposefully slow. I also do love slow burns. I'm a big fan. Chris Evans' worst film. Just because he's not like being silly doesn't mean it's his worst film. That's possibly his best film. Like acting wise, it showed the true depths of society. It showed the true depths of Chris Evans' acting ability. Like everything else that Chris Evans does is fairly similar to a degree. That showed he has chops and he can do subtle and he can do. I gotta disagree there. But interesting. It's all subjective, like we talked about earlier. It's all subjective. But I'm intrigued. That really makes me want to watch the show now. Y'all got me thinking. I'd rather watch Surviving the Game again. I don't know what that is. I'm not familiar with Surviving the Game. Okay, so real quick though, while we're thinking Snowpiercer, the movie, have y'all seen? And if you haven't, you have to look this up. I'll end the stream right after we talk about it, and then you can go look it up because I got the next 30 minutes planned out for you. I think it's 2 videos. That Snowpiercer the movie is the spiritual successor and sequel to Willy Wonka. I know it sounds weird. I know it sounds funky. But check it out. Check out those videos. Just search Willy Wonka Snowpiercer and see what happens. What? Ice-T 1994? Oh, okay. Really? Like, I can't watch Ice-T anything most of the time. Chris Evans was brilliant on Apple series where his son was charged with the murder of a school class friend. I never saw it. I need to watch I've only seen like a couple Apple series, and I need to do better about watching those because quality over quantity is what they're focusing on over there, and it's amazing. Squid Game was awesome, yes. What'd you smoke, Harris? Nothing yet. I am going to take a dab after this, though. Not a smoke stream. We won't do a smoke stream because we've gone so far, but I'm going to take a dab just to advertise this one, of course. But I didn't smoke anything for the Willy Wonka stuff. Willy Wonka is the prequel to Snowpiercer. Not Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka. Gene Wilder Wonka. The OG Wonka. The best of the best Wonka. It's funky. It is like, but the weird thing is the more you couldn't get into Squid Game sci-fi, dude, that's so good. But I understand. I mean, it's a lot of subtitles. It is also slow, and if you're not a big fan of slow, I mean, I guess there is a bunch of stuff going on, but there are elements of slowness that kind of do bog it down to a degree. Defending Jacob, interesting. Oh, that's the series. Okay. But no, Snowpiercer, spiritual successor / sequel to Willy Wonka. There are 2 videos. Honestly, hold up. Let me YouTube real quick. I won't play them right now. But I will show you Snowpiercer Willy Wonka. I guess let me just share the screen, and then y'all can see which ones I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay. Why Snowpiercer is a sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. 13 million views 4 years ago. Yep, that's it. Whoa. 7 months ago, he put a part 2 up, though? Yes, this is the only one I was talking about. This is a 1.4 million views. Snowpiercer Willy Wonka sequel, Rhino Stew follow-up. This one. Oh, I did not mean to do that. I was trying to. There we go. I just didn't want all that blue everywhere. Nerdist, of course, did a video based off of these videos, but the one from 4 years ago, Why Snowpiercer is a sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory by Rhino Stew. I need to watch this one. I guess part 2 by Rhino Stew, but also Nomadic Kong, Snowpiercer equals Willy Wonka sequel, Rhino Stew follow-up. Those are worth a watch. They're worth a watch. And, of course, we'll talk about them tomorrow if y'all want to. It'd be kind of fun. Just watch the dubbed version of Squid Game. Dubbed is hilarious. Oh, no. I didn't even think about that. Ooh. New Willy Wonka. Dwarves out of work again. Good point. Good point, honestly. But what's the actor's name? Hugh. Why can't I think of the guy's name? Should I watch Snowpiercer? The movie or the TV show? The movie, I would say yes. I don't know if Gamer would agree, but movie, yes. Hugh Grant, there we go. I don't know why that escaped my brain. I love Hugh Grant, so I'm excited for that bit of it. But yeah, it's taken away work from dwarves, like, and a lot of them at the same time. Like, you could have hired a whole bunch of dwarves and had like a whole cast and crew of people, essentially. Both. I don't know about the TV series. Gamer says no. I say hell yeah for the movie. For the TV series, I'm not sure. I'm assuming yes. From the sounds of it, yes. It's like the classic Kung Fu films dubbed. It's hilarious. I might have to check that out. But whenever season 2 of Squid Game finally airs, I might have to watch season 1 again, but have it dubbed this time just for it. The movie put me off the series. That's why I didn't watch it. Interesting. Well, okay, watch the. Okay, you said you had seen the movie, so watch the Rhino Stew and then the Nomadic Kong video, and maybe both Rhino Stew videos. I'm not sure. I need to watch the second one, but watch that stuff. And then maybe it'll make you want to rewatch the movie and look at it with a different viewpoint. And then maybe the series would be fun to watch after that. I'm not sure. That would be my suggestion, though. That might be my suggestion for myself as well. Yeah, that's it today, though. We're 2 hours, 42 minutes into this thing. I appreciate the hell out of y'all, as always. I really appreciate it. Where was it? I think, yeah, great live as always. There we go. I was like, I know we said something, and that's always a good comment or a good type of comment to leave on. Korean dramas, dubbed are brilliant. They have me in stitches. Oh, God. Oh, God. Yeah, I can see why. I can see why. But this was an awesome stream. I really appreciate y'all being here. Thank y'all as always. I will be back for Movie Tuesday tomorrow. Cool. Later, shares. Take care as always. Great live. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. I'm going to roll this intro / outro. We're going to call it a day.